Welcome you all, and I hope you are knowing that what is this, what is the objective of this class, and I hope you are having some idea about this economic survey, that what this document is and how you can get benefited out of it. But before I get into what exactly these chapters and what they are saying, uh, it might be necessary to talk a little about economic survey first, that what its relevance and why from examination point of view you should be taking this document seriously. Look, economic survey for that matter is, you can say, official data coming from the government itself, right? And the story began way back around 1950s itself, though when we got the budget presented. Budget in India though dates back to 1860. If you see the history of budget in India, that dates back to 1860. But gradually that concept of budget evolved in India, and then after independence, though Chetty was the one who presented the first budget of Republic India was presented by John Mathey. That was the time when it was realized that there should be some document also, because what is budget? Budget is an anticipation that whatever is going to be for the next financial year. I hope you're understanding financial year. When we say financial year, that means something starting from 1st April of the given year till 31st March of the next year. So which financial year we are as of now? 20, you can say 24, 25, or if you have to say in one digit, the end year, that is 25. So generally it is said 24, 25, but for sake of convenience, you also can say financial year 25. So 24, 25, and you know, each of the data is presented on quarter basis, because we have 4 quarters, as you understand, that is April, May, June, quarter 1, that is July, August, September, quarter 2, October, November, December, and then January, February, March. Now, when the budget is presented, that time, it was way back in 1950s, it was thought that you are saying that what is the scenario of the upcoming year, how much of income is likely to happen, how much of expenditure is likely to be there. But don't you think there should be some report card also, that last year whatever your budget was saying and where you stand? So that was the relevance why economic survey came up. So the idea was that as we have budget document, along with the budget, we also should have some idea that what has been previous year's budget and how much you have achieved, where you stand. So if I said, let's say in 2023-24 financial year, last financial year when the budget was presented, don't you think this year when we are presenting budget for next year, we should be having the data of previous year? And that is the reason why we got this document economic survey coming up. That's how the noble start happened. Initially, it was barely a few pages giving the detail that how the year has went. Now, in economic survey, therefore you can say that we get the data of the current year. And that's why the name of the economic survey is what? 2023-24. Did you notice it? That the year name is 2023-24, the year which has gone. But interestingly, when the economic survey is presented around 2 days or 1 days before budget, that is in January, the financial is yet to be over. So if I say this way, let's say you're presenting data of 2023-24, in general, budget is given in you can say second month, that is February, 1st February, and economic survey is given on 30th or 31st of Jan. 30th or 30th means the year is yet to be completed. Am I making sense? That's why every year in economic survey you will see the data of 2023-24, 9-month data will be there, and 3-month anticipation will be there. Anticipation kind of, that is what is called advanced estimate. And that is why you will be reading, or you might have read in your budget classes, that advanced estimate is considered to be a very important document. It comes in the first week of January. So for 2023-24, you get 9-month data, 3-month advanced estimate that this may happen. That is why every time in economic survey you will see the comparison of 3 years has been done. Why? Because 2023-24, 9-month data is there, 3-month guess is there. 2022-23, we have complete data, and 2024-25, we have the budget estimate called as BE, budget estimate. So this way, whenever we talk about economic survey, whenever you're looking at economic survey and trying to consider data, you will see that often these 2 years are compared. Because this we have complete data, and this we are having 9-month data and 3-month projection called as advanced estimate. So this way economic survey started. However, all right. So 1950s, 60s, if we say this way, all right. So 1950s and 60s, economic survey was like that. That, data was given, and just for the sake of comparison. But I'm sure you have heard of IMF. IMF, which is an international organization, and it dates back to Bretton Woods Conference. By that time, IMF was popular with one of the document called World Economic Outlook, very famous document. And World Economic Outlook also presents the data like economic survey, but gives suggestions that how the world economy should be, what should be this approach, where it is going right, where it is going wrong, what government should do. Now, our economic surveys got fairly inspired by this idea of World Economic Outlook, and that's why you can say around 1970s, economic survey started not only presenting data, but also started advising governments that these things should be done. Now, it does not mean whatever economic survey is advising is mandatory for the government to follow. But it has been found that whenever economic survey is advising anything to the government takes it seriously. Why? Because A, it's insider story, and B, you can say that it is something which is meticulously done based on various observations, findings, and so. In fact, following the same line, when Dr. Manmohan Singh became finance minister, and he was well informed, he has already worked with, you can say IMF, Montek Singh Aliwala was one fellow already there. So they thought to present economic survey in 2 booklets. So we got a new behavior now that economic survey was in 2 booklets. Booklet 1 was about theoretical framework and approach of the government, and booklet 2 was about statistics. It continued, then got discontinued, that we got again continued from 2016 onwards. The current status is our current chief economic advisor, who happens to be another, again you can say teacher, he earlier was teaching at Singapore. So he was of the opinion this document should be as crisp as possible, but having essence of both now. Even if you see the economic survey, as I'm told that you have done a few chapters, you can say he's advising also that what should be done, and at the same time providing all that necessary data to substantiate that what government is doing, where they are falling short, what kind of approach should be followed. And that's why this document is something very significant. Now, one thing which often comes in your mind, should I read the original document also? I'll say that this year's document is worth reading. Even the original document is worth reading. Obviously, you had given a synopsis, but original document is worth reading. And trust me, once the synopsis has been done, and then if you're reading original document, it is going to be a delight. But don't read this document as if you have to mug it up. Read it like a novel. The way you read novel, that just enjoying it and then forgetting it. And the way they narrate the story is very important for your answer writings in mains. So whenever they are giving anything like inflation, for that matter, whatever they might have said, as you know that this year's chief economic advisor had said something, and we are keeping fingers crossed. Look what governor is saying. He has given a very practical advice, and that makes sense. He said that while determining monetary policy, don't consider food inflation, because we are on the back seat from almost 4-5 times now. We are not changing our repo rate because our food inflation is still high. So he was advising that food inflation in India, very practical advice, that food inflation in India is a supply side problem also, because we are not having that kind of production and there are mismatches in mandis and all. So why to go that way? He said, consider CPI barring food inflation separate. And then your monetary policy should be formed. And it looks like day before yesterday, our RBI governor was giving an interview also, it was in Indian Express, where he said this, that I think this is a practical solution to the problem. Because how long we can be on the back foot? I hope you're understanding that still our bank rates are very high. I'm assuming that you're knowing these things has been discussed here and there. Still our repo rate is very high. That means the flow of money in the market is getting now shrinked, and it is a matter of concern. So these kind of practical advisors, chief economic, like he was so vocal. Look, the way he has been, in fact, I am going to teach and discuss about a few of chapters, some other teachers will be doing also, but I strongly recommend that whenever you have leisure time, listen to what chief economic advisor himself had said. Once the entire chapter has been done, all chapters, then you should listen to his speech is almost of 1 and probably 60-70 minutes. Maybe 70 minutes, 72 minutes. But then you will understand, okay, fine, this is what is worth. He has also advised, very vocal, that the time has come to constrain on social media and these kind of things, because the way generation is doing what is called doom scrolling, the way doom scrolling is going on is not good for the mental health. We have heard for the first time somebody, and he was so straightforward to say that AIs are going to hurt you. Brace the impact. His advice was very straightforward, without any, because he's chief economic advisor and can afford to say straight. He's not a politician, so that he have to consider other things also. So he was saying very straight that AI is going to hurt you at all levels, highly skilled, semi-skilled and low-skilled jobs. You need to create alternative mechanism so that you are creating more jobs. So this way, economic survey is a wonderful document. Not, in fact, for mains, I often believe that irrespective of reading a number of books here and there, if somebody is reading economic survey, my practical advice to the students is always, even in the classes I also do this way, I say once you have done, let's say, your monetary policy and banking chapter, then go and read monetary policy from the economic survey. See whether the words you are getting it or not. You are not supposed to mug up the data, but you should be feeling familiar with what has been said, the ideas, the concepts, and so. That is the best way to utilize economic survey. And it also will tell you how to write. Never skip something which has been written in the boxes. Like this year, you can say that future market in agriculture. Maybe I will be 0% surprised if in mains you got a question of that nature. That in agriculture, future market could be what is digital governance, which has been highlighted. So economic survey, I personally believe should be read, but should be read like a novel. So there are some odd 12, 13 chapter, one chapter, one day, and not necessarily each day. maybe once in a week you're reading one chapter and trying to recall that what has been said, what are the dimensions. Don't get too much into data part, but at least get the idea, the notion that what has been advised. Making sense? So this is something which I wanted to say before I want to start the chapters assigned to me. Now, uh, to get best benefit, I'll first introduce something to you, and then we'll go chapter wise. Now, the chapter I shall be discussing are, from the list I had been assigned, that I will be talking about social sector benefiting the empowerment, employment and skill development, agriculture and food management, and services. These were the chapters. I think 4 chapters you have already done, 4, 3, 3 chapters. All right. So I will be taking care of these 4, and rest the concerned teachers would be taking care of. Now, the first chapter I am going to take is social sector. Social sector, that is, benefits the empowered. Now, before I get into this, something in the background for the starters you should be knowing. What is the ultimate objective of economic growth? This has been the debate. So first listen to me and then we'll get back to here. So what is the ultimate objective of economic growth? Is it just that you got this much of GDP? You got this much of increase in your growth? No. As early as 1970s, in fact, there's a very famous conference that was there in 1972, in that it was highlighted. So Stockholm Conference was the first to highlight that growth is not an end in itself. The ultimate objective is development. And that's how you hear growth and development, or growth versus development. And of late, development was replaced with another term, better term, called inclusive growth. So growth should be benefiting every sections of the society. It should not be the case that somebody has cornered the benefit. Each and every section should get benefit. So growth is not an end in itself. Rather, your economy should grow for what purpose? To benefit each and every sector of the society, and therefore should be developing, what you otherwise also called as inclusive growth. Now, if I have to tell you what is inclusive growth, there's a straightforward definition given by IMF. In fact, those who are interested, there's a wonderful series by IMF called Back to Basics. Anyone from my classes can recall that. Back to Basics is a wonderful series of IMF where any term of economics, if you're not clear about, you can search, and it has been written in a very lucid way, especially for beginners. Those who are not having economics background, if they want to know something about it, they can read it from IMF, very lucidly written by some of the officials of IMF. Sometimes videos made on that. So what is inclusive growth? If I have to say in one equation, IMF says inclusive growth is equal to growth plus right-based welfare plus merit-based empowerment plus sustainability. This is the equation you can draw. And this is a very good equation to understand what is inclusive growth. I am using few words. First word, I'm saying right-based welfare. Understand this point. I'm sure you have heard of it in your school days, college days, and here in classes also, that there are 2 pole stands. Those who are Marxists, they believe everyone should get everything equally. Those who are otherwise on the other stand, they believe no, those who are meritocratic should get. Why everyone should get? So these are 2 stands. Some people say that no, everyone should get everything. Everyone has equal right. And other people believe no, those who are working hard, they should be getting it. Why everyone should be getting it? Now, this problem was sorted out with this idea of inclusive growth. There was a writer, John Rawls, who talked about it. And listen to me carefully and let me know whether I'm making sense or not. Those who are thinking everything should be given to everyone are wrong. And those who are thinking it is completely based on merit are also wrong. There are few things which must be given to everyone, irrespective of meritocracy. There are few things which everyone should have, no matter how idiot, how stupid, how meritocratic that fellow is. Like food, like safe drinking water, like sanitation, like primary health. like some basic dignity of life. It's that way. Say, I'm not a good teacher, it does not mean you got token to insult me. At least basic dignity I respect, I deserve. You might not be a good student, it does not mean I got token to insult you. Basic dignity you also deserve. So a few things should be given to everyone, no matter whatever individual is. That is called right based welfare. It must be given to everyone. And then a few things should be given on merit. But in that case, there should be equality of opportunity. So that's how when we say inclusive growth highlights what? Few things should be given to everyone. And a few things should be based on merit. And for that, there should be enough of empowerment. There are opportunities so that people can get it. Am I making sense? This way, the idea of inclusive growth, and that's why for welfare part, that means food, safe drinking water, sanitation, health, it is the responsibility of the state. It is responsibility of the government to ensure that is there to everyone. ये सबको मिले, government की जिम्मेदारी है. And then empowerment also should be entitled by the government by providing microfinance, by providing skills, employment, and these kind of things. And accordingly, people can excel how good or bad they are. So this way, every government is judged by that how any government, how good or bad they are judged by how much of the welfare they are doing. How much of welfare they are doing, and how much of the things they are doing for the empowerment. Now I'm asking you, if a government is doing a lot of welfare, giving everything to the people almost free, cannot be considered a good government and cannot sustain for long either. Cannot sustain for long either. Any government who is only thinking of empowerment but not fulfilling the basic necessities is also not good. And then third dimension is also there, that is sustainability in terms of environment. That we should, because obviously when we talk about poverty eradication, we often mislead. While talking about poverty eradication, if you are only focusing on the current generation, between this people and that person, that is not good. You also thinking across the generation. What if we are exploiting the resources too much so that upcoming generations are not having anything? That is also not good. That's why sustainability. So this is how we got the idea of what is social sector. And any government, how good or bad, is often scaled by this. And you know now, as you have done the first chapter, that growth of the economies are judged with the help of GDP growth rate, GVA growth rate, and these kind of things. When we talk about social sector or development, it is judged by indicators like HDI. There is a very important indicator called HDI. Then there is one indicator called PHDI. PHDI is for sustainability, that how much of pressure you are exerting on the planet. Then multidimensional poverty index, and at the top of it, how much you are performing as per sustainable developmental goals. I'm assuming that you are knowing sustainable developmental goals. Those who are not knowing, SDGs are the global yardsticks to identify that the basic things are fulfilled to everyone. Now in this chapter, not a surprise how the chapter should progress. The first thing first, we should try to figure out that how your social sector is performing. And any social sector will perform on the basis of how much of money you are giving. If you really want welfare, what is the first thing? That how much of money you are providing. Whether you are increasing money year after year or not. If you are increasing money year after year, and what if your growth rate is 7%, and in social sector, you are giving more than 7%, can I say that you are more welfare oriented? So it should be a good yardstick. So if your growth is 7% and you are giving 8%, 9% in social welfare, that means yes, you are going ahead. So the first thing first, how much of money has been allocated? That will tell the intention of the government. But is allocation of the money is good enough? No. We also should look at the efficiency of that money, that how efficiently that has been used. And what is the approach of government while using? Are we believing just freebies, or we want to have some concrete outcome out of it? We want some concrete outcome. That on that basis we can judge how good a bad government is. So first, how you are doing in terms of budgetary allocations. Then second should be what? How good you are in terms of managing all these things, how efficient you are. Then how you are doing in terms of, let's say, health, how you are doing in terms of education, how you are doing in terms of, let's say, taking care of elderlies, how much you are doing in terms of skill development and other sectors. And then to contrast where you stand vis-a-vis SDG. So this is the general template in which the social sector of the government should be discussed. Am I making sense? So not a surprise in this chapter also, what they have talked about, all these things. The part first of this chapter, in fact, this synopsis has done some extra work for you also, where we are comparing also what is there in budget and so. So first we will talk about that what exactly government is doing in terms of welfare, what is the orientation of the government. Second, we'll talk about what has been done for health, what has been done for education, what has been done for, because look, these days, youngsters, youth, women, farmers, yeah, youth, women, farmers, and poor, they are the priority sector for the government. I've been knowing that we are having a dream now that by 2047, India would be a developed country when we will be observing our 100 years of independence. That's the target we have given to us. This is what you call Amrit Kal. So in this Amrit Kal, if you really want to achieve the things by 2047, you have to work from here now. And we are going step by step. You might be knowing, or you will be reading your classes, that for this government is having 7-pointer approach to be called as Saptarishi, where we are prioritizing set of things. Now, when it comes to social sector, this chapter highlights all these things. So in first part, they had talked about what has been done in welfare approach, where we are. Second part, we are talking about what has been done about health, what has been done about education, what we are doing for women, what we are doing for rural economy, and then where we stand vis-a-vis SDG. So vis-a-vis SDG, where we are standing. Now, if you see that wherever I'm saying, you can highlight those things also if you're having the document in front of you. Otherwise, you listen to me, and while revision, you can do that. The introductory part is talking about that only, that why in order to have a Viksit Bharat, we should be spending more. Now you can see that how India's expenditure, overall, the GDP has increased, nominal GDP. I have been understanding nominal GDP and real GDP. Nominal is at the current prices. So, acha, GDP, when I'm saying, it means now GDP market price. From 2015 onwards, it has been made standard rule. GDP means GDP market price, nominal or real, and GVA means GVA basic price, nominal or real. That you will be reading your classes. Now, as per GDP is concerned, India's nominal GDP CAGR is if you compare from financial year 18 to financial year 24, it has been almost 9.5. I don't know whether I'm knowing this term CAGR or not. Now, what is CAGR? If I could put it simply, थोड़ा सा पहले ये term समझ ले, तो then you can understand the rationale of it. What is CAGR? Let's say I invested in something 100 rupees. I invested in something 100 rupees, and next year it became 120. So how much is the growth? 20%. Next year it became 150. The X amount of growth is there. Next year I got some loss, 145. So negative growth rate would be there. Next year it became 170. So now I want to see from here to here, how much has been my overall average growth. Overall average growth, because here it was 20%, here it was slightly lesser than that, here it was minus, here it was plus. So what is average of it will be called as compounded average growth rate. So when we are saying CGR, it is bound to be more than 1 year. How it is calculated, that is not important, but anyone interested is final value divided by initial value 1 by t minus 1. This is formula, आप जो statistics जानते हैं उनके लिए ठीक है, नहीं, don't get into that. But the idea is that we are trying to figure out that year after year on a scale of 5 years, 7 years. Now just look at the document. The no, government is saying that GDP growth rate has been 9.5 from 2018 to 2024, roughly. And how much we have spent on welfare? 12.8. What does it mean to you? It simply means that whatever our GDP growth rate is, we are spending more. We are spending more on welfare. That means our approach is very clear that we are prioritizing welfare. Now, this is one of very handy data which you can use while writing in mains. So you're writing anywhere on any sector, because this data could be useful in paper 2 when you're talking about health, education, and these kind of things. Could be useful in paper 1 when you're talking about poverty, anti-poverty programs, and these kind of things, or hunger and all. So you can start. It will be a good start. That if you see in the last few years from 2018 to 2024, while annual growth rate or annual CAGR of GDP was 9.5, the welfare expenditure was 12.8, and that makes sense. अच्छा, overall if you see from 2018 to, ये data आपको थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना चाहिए. Overall from 2018 to 2022, we are spending 7.6% of the GDP, 7.6% of the GDP on social welfare. That's a big amount. So if India's GDP is 100 rupees, we are spending almost 7.6 rupees on social welfare with respect to GDP. With respect to GDP, and that is definitely a good amount. Good amount. So this way you can say that they are trying to prove, now survey is trying to establish that India is spending a lot on welfare. Expenditure on education has grown at a CAGR of 9.4%. 9.4%. It is between this time. However, in terms of GDP, if you see, it is 2.7. National education policy has said it should be at as high as 6% of the GDP. Considering the challenges of our education sector, it should be 6% of the GDP, but it is continuously increasing. That means we are going closer. So this way, they are providing the data that how, this data you can recall, at least this one, that the nominal GDP has been 9.5 CAGR, and our overall welfare is 12.8. And it will be used even in education, in health, elsewhere also. So government, you can say, is continuously increasing. This is what, again, these smaller data you cannot recall. Agar reh jaye to achhi baat hai, but at least this kind of data you should be remembering that, okay, fine, India is spending a lot. And in health and education, at least you should remember, because in health, we are spending how much? Almost 1.9%. Though National Health Policy 2017, there was a very important policy, National Health Policy 2017, said it should be close to 3%. So we are still far from the target, but moving in that direction. So ये दो तीन data आपको जरूर पता होना चाहिए. Otherwise, what happens when you're talking about health and education and not having any data? Your answer seems very commonsensical. कि हाँ बस कुछ मन में आ गया and you wrote that. So you should be knowing at least 1.9% of GDP we are spending in health, while National Health Policy 2017 says it should be 3%. Initially it said 2.5, but later on after COVID they made it 3%. And on education, we are spending how much? Roughly 2.7%, but National Education Policy solicits, National Education Policy says it should be 6%, knowing the challenges of the sector. Baki, they had given the comparison that how expenditure on these things have increased. One thing which they had highlighted, ab ye, look, what are some of the very important schemes or development which you can say in terms of welfare? How you will examine, say honestly, how many of you knowing multidimensional poverty index? At least have heard of it. Multidimensional poverty index. You know, it talks about health. In health, what it talks about? Nutrition and mortality, child mortality. In education, it talks about years of schooling and school attendance. Very good. And then 6 things in terms of, you can say, standards of living. What are these 6? Cooking fuel, house, sanitation, safe drinking water, electricity, very good, and some other assets. And I am sure you are knowing, if you're knowing this much, I'm sure you're knowing this also. On the similar line, Niti Aayog also had given National Multidimensional Poverty Index. In that, we have 12 indicators. Can anybody tell me the 12th one in the standard of life? Bank account as indicator of financial inclusion. And within the health, we got one thing added. And what is that? Antenatal care. That means care of pregnant women. अब आप मुझे बताओ, we had made our own multidimensional poverty index, and we have added care of pregnant women. We highlighted that value, and we also highlighted the value of bank accounts. So in our multidimensional poverty index, these are the things. Not a surprise. If you see the original document started with the story of Baramulla, where we got now dedicated hospitals where pregnant women, when they are very close to delivery, we provide them facilities so that can stay there till their institutional delivery. So we are giving them space even before the delivery, so that there's, because we never know when the situation may arise and the terrain is very difficult. So probably it will be difficult for female to reach to hospital. So what we are doing, those women, pregnant women who are very close to delivery, we provide them space. They can stay there. It was a difficult thing, but isn't something telling that yes, we are achieving? Now think of it at that height in Northeast, in those areas, in Leh, if we are having a tap, fresh water tap, isn't the story too worth sharing? That's why they have talked about these stories. And these examples you can say. So let's just sing something about Jal Shakti. Water resource management has been up this year. What Bangalore has faced, water crisis, you will expect question in paper 1. It may be in paper 3, because it's an alarm. They have triggered an alarm in Bangalore. Now, considering this, if you could end up the story by saying that how in Ladakh, now fresh water tap is available, you are the right candidate then. You know also that things has to be done, and you're not pessimist either, ki kuch ho hi nahi raha. You're not pessimist either, you know things has been done, but we have miles to travel. So that's why this chapter gives these kind of stories, that what has been done. In fact, you can say it has been highlighted here, that what achievement we have done, though in GDP, you know, we are 5th largest in nominal. GDP nominal, we are 5th largest, and GDP PPP, we are 3rd largest as per 2023 data. PPP data is given by World Bank at the gap of 3 years. So as per GDP PPP, we are 3rd largest. As per GDP nominal, now we are 5th largest, and very soon we are going to be probably 4th largest, the way Japan is gradually going downwards. However, as India become the 5th largest economy in terms of GDP nominal, look what we have achieved, what we are bragging. Did you notice one thing? ये कहने का तरीका है boss. We are not saying we have 5th large, we are 5th large. उसको तो हमने बड़े हल्के में लिया है. We are highlighting हमने ये किया, this is our achievement. This is how you represent yourself. What is your biggest achievement? Said in very few. We are 5th largest, but this is what we have done. We are proud upon. Can you see this thing? So that's how you say, that's how you indicate when you talk about welfare. So what we have done, 10.3 crore women has been given now cooking fuel in the name of what is called PM Ujjwala Yojana. 11.7 crore toilets has been built under Swachh Bharat mission. And India is now almost, the entire India is now ODF and ODF. Most of the villages are now ODF. In India, we have almost 6.4 lakh villages, and almost 6 lakh villages are now ODF. That is open defecation free. I know somebody might be thinking of Panchayat series now, कि ऐसा तो नहीं है, ODF वैसा होता नहीं. I agree. At grassroots level, we have challenges. But understand, it's a big country. Don't be sarcastic about it. At least we have reached there. That itself is an achievement. That itself is, and gradually will go upward. So ODF is there, open defecation free. There's one thing called ODF, then ODF plus, then ODF plus plus. So now we are moving towards that. Swachh Bharat mission rural and Swachh Bharat mission urban. Both of them are doing wonderful. 52.6 करोड़. अब इसकी हम कैसे बात नहीं करते? This is ours. Opening bank account. In 2015, India has introduced one of the most ambitious scheme, very difficult to achieve that time. That was called Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, which is called National Policy on Financial Inclusion. JAM is a kind of media term. The original name is National Policy on Financial Inclusion. And what happens with the financial inclusion? If you have more financial inclusion, that means people are connected to the bank. And that's why, trust me, if you ask me, I think UPI has been not less than a revolution, the way it has happened. The best part of the UPI, you need not to be digitally very literate, still safe and sound. It's still safe and sound, and you can do transaction even knowing without coding and other details, and even being very much literate. So these kind of things are possible because we had thought of, not a surprise, financial inclusion when viewed by Rangarajan committee. It was Rangarajan committee who talked about financial inclusion. Even he highlighted, look, the problem was banks are not there in the villages. And even if they are giving that kind of facility. I mean, village, I don't need that tapping card of it, Visa and these kind of things, making it expensive. Visa fees is, Visa Master Rupee is much cheaper now. If you see, and we got a new guideline for Rupee that is making it further cheaper. Actually, these are gateways. Because when you swipe the card, who provides this facility from your card to the customer? That gateway, Visa, Master, and so and so. That you will be reading your routine classes. But the point is that the way we got all these things, Rangarajan said, why you are going with these expensive facilities? Give me zero balance account. My requirements are specific. So this way from 2015 onwards and 2019, even RBI is having a national strategy for financial inclusion. So outcome is now visible. 52.6 crore, almost half of the population. Can you see? This way. So this way we are reaching there in Jan Dhan account. 3.47 Pakka houses. Pakka houses means with proper roof. So Pakka houses has been made under one scheme. As you know, that there is one thing called Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Shahari and Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Grameen, both for urban and rural. We are providing Pakka house where subsidies are provided, facilities are provided so that they can build their house. Again, very important thing. We are saying now these data because look, each of them are in your syllabus. So at least you should be knowing when they are talking about problems of urbanization. Instead of talking bluff and saying blah blah, look, again, I often say that in your preparation, don't romanticize it. Beat to the core. Itna aasan nahi hai, trust me. But if you go step by step, you can climb up there. You should be knowing this data while talking about, because in urbanization, what is the biggest problem? You know why urban poor are more at risk than the rural poor? Because of housing. Remember in COVID, why people were going? ऐसा तो नहीं था, वहाँ job थी, वहाँ घर था. The houses were there. Here, rental cost of the houses were something killing them and choking them. And that's why that massive migration we have seen. So, urban poverty, the biggest challenge is housing. If we could make safe and affordable house to them. So this way, this is an achievement that we are now working on this thing, that we are providing them houses both in rural and urban areas. 11.7 crore people has been provided water connection under Jal Jeevan Mission. Here we got this story coming from, you can say, Demchok village, Leh. Demchok village, Leh. In fact, Ladakh se hum do khabre hain. I hope you knowing that now we got the highest motorable road there also. So now you can take your Thar there. Yes, that's possible. And it's highest motorable road on this earth now. So almost you are driving on the roof of the earth, you can say that way. So Demchok is, we are having pride in that too. In infrastructure, you will be knowing it. In infrastructure chapter, they have highlighted it, that we had made that road. But at the same time, we are pride that we got the tap there. We got the tap there. Even we got electricity in those villages which were left behind. So now, ye aapko pata hona chahiye. This is a very good case study to refer to. while writing in mains. So let's say you're saying something about water management. Water management, you should be talking about that this is how it is and now these things should be done, and so that your answer looks concrete. So it is talking about that how, and that's why we are saying, I hope you can understand what I was saying in beginning. We want people on development treadmill, not on welfare treadmill. They should be running on development treadmill. That means both welfare and empowerment together by working on or fixing the fundamental things. So that's how we got these things, that what India has achieved over the period of time. And you know what? In all these things, the key is digital public infrastructure. Because digital public infrastructure is the game changer now. What is digital public infrastructure? That net accessibility, internet, faster internet should be available. Now each and every village is connected via optical fiber. In India, almost each and every village is now connected via optical fiber. And I don't know whether you're knowing it or not, and whether you can connect the dot or not. You know what? We got one scheme called Lakpati Didi. I'm sure you have heard of it. Where we are saying now 3 crore women will be given trainings of what? Trainings of what? Kis cheez ki training? In the self-help group. Training how to operate drone, plumbing, and these kind of things. अब आप सोचना चाहिए, you should think कि उनको ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग क्यों? Because India is going to have a leap jump in irrigation very soon. That is called drone based irrigation with the help of Internet of Things. In agricultural field, with this help of satellite imagery, we will having small sensors. I've been understanding Internet of Things. Small sensors will be there. It will be connected to internet, and we get precise location. This is the area where water is required, not the entire farm. Because when you are having flood irrigation, water is wasted, nutrients of the soil wasted, resources mismanaged. Now we will know exactly which place water is required and in what amount it is required. And this way, with the help of, that's why we are giving them training of drones. Be ready for such question in mains. Abhi dekhega, aane dijiye. They'll understand why these things. And whatever they're asking, trust me, they don't expect you to have plethora of knowledge. But application should be sharp. That's why it has been done. So now what we are trying to do, because irrigation, water management is a challenge. Jal Shakti, and there's no dearth of water. There's a dearth of water management. So if you see this way, this is one of the examples. Similarly, there could be various examples. Even budget, ma'am has talked almost 5 minutes on this, that digital public infrastructure in the village areas. I don't know whether you're knowing it or not, but anyone from Hyderabad might be knowing that ICRISAT has introduced something. ICRISAT introduced a kind of small mobile that's called phablet. You take it to your Wi-Fi connectivity, it get upgraded, and you can use your locations. Even I am sure you are knowing कि आपके PMGSY में there is the rural roads. If your rural road is damaged anywhere, what all you have to do is take a Google tab there, that यहाँ पे road खराब है, that's it, and upload it. Rest of the job the department will take care of. They will see that what is the coordinate or location of that area. They will give instruction to the district magistrate and the SDMs of that area, and you will be updated after a certain point that what has been done to that road. All that is possible with the digital public infrastructure. And that's why a lot of emphasis we are talking about, that this is a strength, that we are having digital public infrastructure and we are going that way. Opportunities are that yes, people are having, we are young population. India is called Youngistan. Our maximum population is something which is younger, and obviously they will be contributing more into what is called demographic dividend. But the challenge is our learning outcomes. In fact, we all know that our education quality is not that good, and learning outcomes are not there. Skill is something which is missing, and skill has to be linked with industries. Thankfully, I'll talk about it. Chief Economic Advisor highlighted it, that why not, in fact, now they can do it. Under CSR, Samsung has already given the proposal. This is the impact. Samsung 15 days back has given this proposal that we will ask them to come and take training here, and we will provide them stipend from our CSR, because government had said now CSR can be used for giving stipend to trainees. So now if any want to learn skill, you just go to that industry will pay you stipend from their CSR fund. And obviously they will be training you as per their requirement and can hire you further. So this way we are linking now skills and industries. Again, means one of the favorite questions. So if you really want to see employment opportunities, you have to connect these things. So this is our challenge. Acha ye hai ki infrastructure is going good. Bad is that we don't have that kind of outcome. I'm sorry to say, please don't take me wrong, but just for a quick reference, how many of you know coding in this class? Can operate Excel sheet and these kind of things without any problem? I'm sorry to say, but look, employment is also the problem of employability. This is mains question. This is called structural unemployment, where the youth or the educated are not having that skill which is required for the market. That's called structural unemployment. So this is mains question, and they are asking question of that nature, so that you should be understanding with the help of digital public infrastructure. Obviously we cannot change the whole world to wait for us. We have to accommodate. So this way they had given, in fact original document is even more wonderfully written, I must say. It goes like almost a narrative. If you read the document, that how we have strength, this is what is called, they are saying that we have this strength, this is our opportunity, that we are having young population. So overall, if you see, you can say that's why they use the term dovetailing growth. Dovetailing is जब चीजें एक साथ आ रही हो और बेहतर कर रही हो, when things are coming together in synergy. So they say dovetailing growth with empowering welfare. So now India is looking forward for it. If we are providing basic things to them, like safe drinking water, sanitation, housing facility, education, health, and we are providing them skills and all, they can grow further. Then there are some stories that you should be taking care of. Demchok village for this tap water under Jal Jeevan Mission, and Bulmgawan village, Maharashtra, which got electricity supply for the first time in 2018. So आपके लिए छोटी बात हो सकती है, but वो बिजली आ गई, that is something big thing. Big thing still for many people. I don't know whether I'm knowing Madagascar. Madagascar kids are still eating sand. They're called sand eaters of Madagascar. Search sometime. It's a very saddening story. Sand eaters, बच्चे sand खा रहे हैं because the food is not available. Sand eaters, and worst, they're adding it with the tamarind because it is easily available. Now, उनके लिए electricity is a big thing. The world is characterized by these disparities, even within India. Thankfully, from 2018, we got what is called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana, and we have a separate feeder for villages now. That is called Saubhagya feeder. So Saubhagya feeder is there to make sure that 24/7 electricity is available to most of the villages, and when needed at least. So this way we are making sure that electricity is available. These are achievements, and please, I know in this age we are bit anti-establishment, hona bhi chahiye is age mein, there's nothing wrong, but don't be cynical and satirical to government. The moment I say these things has been done, you're not convinced, and the moment I say anything wrong against government, हाँ यार ये तो पक्का होगा. That's not the right approach. That might be good for so-called intellectuals, but it's not good approach. ऐसा नहीं है कि nothing is going on. A lot of things are going on. A lot of things has been done. A lot of things has been achieved. You should be optimistic. One thing is common in bureaucracy. और शायद वो आपके skills में देख लेते हैं कहीं ना कहीं. And that is they're optimistic and solution driven. They know where is the solution. So वो दिखना चाहिए, आपके attitude में भी दिखना चाहिए. So we are doing all these things. So this is where this chapter could be useful. To wherever you are reading those topics, or you have already read, most of you, add these things there in your notes. So when you have talked about urbanization, when you're talking about water resources, you can add it there. So they had said one thing, that how, what is the new approach of welfare. So first thing first, we talked about how much money we are spending. So what is the data? Data is GDP is CAGR is 9.5, but social welfare CAGR is 12.8. 12.8, almost 2.7% of the GDP is going on, you can say, education. Almost 1.9 is going on health, and it is continuously increasing. Continuously increasing because CAGR is increasing. So that is the data. And then they had given some stories that where we had spent more, some of the data you should be aware of. However, this was very rightly said. In fact, there's a fellow, a wonderful book written by him. His name is Ashok Gulati. You might be you might have noticed his articles in Indian Express. Ashok Gulati, he's an agriculture economist. And Ashok Gulati rightly said it at many places that in India, what is needed is that our whatever welfare expenditure is, that audit of that should be better. Let me give an example. Let's say 100 is the benchmark of poverty. 100 is the benchmark of poverty. 10 people are there having 80 rupees. Or you can say there are 10 poor. 10 poor. 100 is the benchmark of poverty. 10 people are having 80 rupees. You can say there are 10 poor. So don't you think if we give 20 multiplied by 10, 200 rupees, they should be above poverty line? Logic says that. And what if we are spending more than 200 rupees and still people are not above poverty line? What does it mean to you? That expenditure on poverty eradication is more than required mathematically. This clearly shows that there is corruption, there is improper management and these kind of things. This is the problem we are witnessing in India. That what is needed for welfare, actual mathematical models, up to we have software, so not a big problem. Whatever needed mathematically, we are spending more than that, and still things are not improving that way. That's why he was of the opinion that we should be highlighting the per rupee spent in welfare, that where that money is going. Almost similar thing has been said by, recently a paper was published by Muralidharan, and he also said all the same thing. Ki per rupee spent on welfare should be audited properly. In fact, just for information, or I'm sure you have read it here and there, that from 2018, India is having outcome budget along with the budget documents. बजट के साथ ही एक अलग से डॉक्यूमेंट आता है, that is called output outcome budget, where we look into all schemes, major schemes of the central government, state governments, and how much of money we are giving, how much of outcome is there. So we are having that monitoring. Similar monitoring is done. It is from financial year 18. So that's why budget and budget heads has been changed after 2018. So budget पहले अलग तरीके से आता था, 2018 के बाद we got several changes. One change was this. Abhi, I'm not going here, otherwise it will take time. You can do one thing at home, that budget document, if you open the budget document, one of the document will be output outcome budget document. That is something which will talk about all major schemes and their budgetary allocation, किनको कितने पैसे मिले थे और कितना उनसे expected था that these kind of result will be there and how much result has happened. ये कुछ वैसे जैसे कि your parent should do it. कि when I'm giving you this much money, what is the result? Isn't it? If they are not doing it, you will not be answerable. So this way, government is now having on mandatory basis what is called outcome output budget. So the new welfare approach, now this you also can use. So मैंने अब तक दो बातें आपसे कही. One thing I said, the first document you can use while writing answers, and you, whenever you're writing about welfare anywhere, paper 2, paper 1, paper 3, you should say that government new approach of welfare is for the process reforms and ensuring accountability, not just freebies. Not just freebies कि हाँ ये free कर दिया, वो free कर दिया. We are looking at the process reforms to identify that what could be challenges, and in that, one thing which is very helpful now is called, अच्छा इस document में नहीं है, but आप original document देखोगे economic survey का, तो उसमें आपको मिल जाएगा, that is called management information system. What is MIS? Anyone from management background might be knowing it. MIS is that all data is now readily available to policymakers. So as a senior level bureaucrat, आपको exact पता होता है कितने account खुल गए हैं, इतना यहाँ पे ये हो रहा है, maybe you are having high frequency data, कि in these areas these many things has been installed, this much of connection has been done, so that you can take informed decision. This is called, MIS is the new thing. And now what we are doing is, from top to bottom, from PMO, Prime Minister's Office, Cabinet Secretariat. I've been in Cabinet Secretary is the top one. From Cabinet Secretariat to district level, as a district level officer, aap se lekar Cabinet Secretary tak, we have interlinkage of MIS. So that every district magistrate is providing the data, yahan ye ho raha hai, this thing has been done. And then it is going to the concerned secretaries, then it is going to concerned ministers, going to concerned cabinet secretaries, and then to PMO. So this way we get informed decision. आपको एक छोटा सा example बताऊं MIS का. It was last year probably December last year, suddenly around 1 PM in the night, we started seeing so much of movement in this Ministry of Defense. Why? Because Prime Minister's office called, आपका ये website काम नहीं कर रहा, अभी चल नहीं रहा. It's 1 AM in the morning. MIS is at work. ये website चल नहीं रहा, because it has its own system which can tell us that this is malfunctioning and so. And then imagine Prime Minister's office से आपको phone आ जाए कि साहब आपका website पूरा system will be on what is kind of high alert. So this way they know that we are being continuously monitored. And this digital thing, in fact, in original document they had given a box for us that how this MIS work. So now what we are doing is, this is called data governance. So what is data governance? That better the data is, and trust me, data speaks a lot. Data बहुत कुछ बताता है, isn't it? Your scores on daily basis tells a lot. हर चीज में एक पैटर्न होता है, आप देख पाए तो. इनफैक्ट this is the first time meeting, but even in classes I have seen, आप कहाँ बैठते हो वो भी लगभग फिक्स्ड होता है. There's a pattern into that. Interestingly, there's a pattern, and if you know exactly that, what is that pattern and how can be utilized, you can improve the efficiency in the system. Now listen to me for next line and let me know whether I'm making sense or not. India's biggest challenges, we are trying to combat corruption with digital technology, because we have seen the ethical framework is not working that much. So now answer is, go for data governance. Even if they want, they cannot do that. So this way gradually India, and that's why Niti Aayog is having one thing called Data Governance Quality Index. This is showing that how our data presentation is improving, and all the ministries, departments up to district level has been given direct commands that how you are doing, and what we are considering, whether data is there or not, whether data security is there or not. Now look, this topic is significant from your e-governance. In your syllabus you have e-governance, so wherever you're reading e-governance, you should add that in 2-3 lines, that how data governance and what is this data governance and quality index. Now I will be 0% surprised if this year or next year mains you got this question, what is the role of data governance, how it could be useful for better efficiency and so. So data governance is the new thing which we are focusing upon continuous. Already इससे मिलता जुलता कुछ पूछ चुके हैं. मैं इस साल इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ कि पूछा जा सकता है, because in the interim budget when it was presented in February, our finance minister, she said one thing, that we have saved more than 2 lakh crore rupees with direct benefit transfers, DBT. क्योंकि अगर हम वैसे पैसा दे रहे थे तो corruption was eating up the money. Now we have saved more than, the actual amount was 2.62 lakh crore rupees. And let me tell you, our food security, that means free grains for everyone, costing is 3 lakh crore. तो उतना तो हम बचा रहे हैं वहाँ पे. Isn't it something which is useful? I hope you know DBT, direct benefit transfer. When it was started? Anyone? In India? 2019, DBT. All right, not a problem. 2013. 2013 it was, but 2015 was an important year because 2013 it was under Ministry of Finance, but from 2015 it is under Cabinet Secretariat. There is one secretary called Coordination and Redressal. So DBT is we are directly transferring amount in their account. So from 2013 it started, 2015 onwards it is under Cabinet Secretary. These kind of questions they're asking and expecting also. If you're writing about something DBT and you're not writing who commands it, isn't your answer very shallow? So this is where the difference are coming, and it's not something. So whenever you're reading anything, you should be knowing that, okay, fine. When it comes to DBT, DBT is again part of data governance, and as I told you that we have outcome budget since financial. Original document has mentioned it that outcome budget was from 2018 onwards mandatory. Then we got monitoring framework by Niti Aayog, and continuously data governance is working. There is one thing called National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy. National Data Sharing and District Development Coordination and Monitoring Committee, DISHA. As a district magistrate, you will be head of it. And it will be your responsibility that you are providing block by block, panchayat by panchayat information at DISHA. So that's why at district level, you have a separate you can say office for data entries, and what is called popularly Vikash Bhavan in different states. So you get that data and the data is uploaded, and everything, education data is DIS, health data, all that data is there, and that data is monitored. Now we can tag it also. The data also can be tagged. So this way, this is something which is a very good thing you can add in your e-governance thing, that now India for welfare is moving towards what? Towards what is called data governance. And what is data governance? Data governance says that following management information system, data should be synchronized from top to bottom for better monitoring. And on that line, Niti Aayog also, this day is presented by Niti Aayog. Data governance and quality index is given by Niti Aayog, having all those use of technology, best practices, data generation, how much of perspective analysis. So this way, we are ensuring that we are doing better monitoring of the schemes and policies with the help of data. Now, we have what is called DISHA, that is District Development Coordination and Monitoring Committee, and National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy to make sure that we are reaching to the last mile. And now it's possible. It's quite possible. And just for information, for many things, we have 6.5 meter resolution. DISHA में एज ए सेक्रेटरी आप यहाँ दिल्ली में बैठ के एग्जैक्टली 6.5 मीटर जूम करके देख सकते हो स्कूल में चल क्या रहा है, what is going on, whether the building has been made or not. And so we are having and there is one center in Ahmedabad that is providing us all that satellite inputs with the help of ISRO. So we are doing these things. ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि कुछ हो नहीं रहा. Many times the impression you're getting, अरे साहब बेकार है, कुछ नहीं हो रहा साहब, it's not that way. Don't be so pessimistic. I agree that still there's a mismatch. Mismatch is that at subordinate level, at very subordinate level, is still the welfare commitment is lagging. That we all are knowing, and that's why we are banking upon technology. We got even Google tag is coming for various things now. Google tag is there for various things where we can tag various activities and other kind of. So this way we got various approaches to ensure that data governance is useful. Now in e-governance, we should be understanding what is the next level called data governance, and with the help of data governance, we are improving. बिल्कुल possible है साहब. It is quite possible. जैसे personally speaking, अभी तो नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन maybe 5 years down the line, maybe in vision also we have MIS, that your CCTV camera is connected to your parent, so that they can exactly zoom and see whether the student is in the class or not. Why not? It's quite possible. It's quite possible with the data. आप तो बता रहे हो क्लास गए तो ये रहा data, you should be knowing. And the moment you know you've been monitored, your behavior will be different. Trust me. We can upload your assignments so that your parents also can see where you are. Why we should be? Obviously, they are our principal employers, not you. Why? They should, obviously, they should be knowing, okay, things are being done properly. So, ऐसा कुछ अभी है नहीं, don't worry. थोड़ा डर गए आप लोग तो लग रहा है. But not that, this is how we are working actually at grassroots level. Because we somehow know, इतने बड़े scale पे ethical framework change करना is not possible. So we are, what we are thinking of is, कि why not to have compulsive conformity? This is the term used more than often these days. कि आप चाहे ना चाहे, you have to be conformist, you have to be honest. That's called compulsive conformity, and data can ensure it. So this is what is data governance. So this is a good thing you have to take care of. I hope if you're taking note, you should be, ये कम से कम ये तो आप कहीं जरूर लिखते चलें कि इसको कहाँ कहाँ क्या क्या ऐड कर लेना. So wherever you're reading e-governance, जहाँ भी आपका document है, add this thing and could be very handy for whatever question has been asked. It could be a good conclusion that how data governance is the future and can be. However, if you see that, as I told you, that we are also ensuring that last mile connectivity is there. Like, you know what? Not a surprise, this question has been already asked in prelims. United Nations has also applauded our one program called Aspirational District. There's one scheme introduced way back by Niti Aayog that's called Aspirational District Program. In that, what we are identifying, what are aspirational districts? Aspirational districts are those districts which are not very developed, but have potential. And we are having focused approach on them so that that district should be at par with the best district of that state. So say for example, if I say neighboring UP, in UP, if the best district is Gautam Budh Nagar, aspirational district is Siddharth Nagar, Siddharth Nagar should be as good as Gautam Budh Nagar, and we should be focusing upon what is required. As of now, earlier we started with 112 districts, now we have 117 districts. You should be knowing that how some of the districts has been awarded for it. Like one district in Jharkhand we got, one in Jammu Kashmir, Baramulla. So there are many Uri and that entire area. So if you see that, we should be making sure aspirational district program is one of the very ambitious. Even we also got one thing called aspirational block program. Now, in the similar line. So Niti Aayog introduced aspirational district program, which has been applauded by United Nations. They've appreciated that this is the right approach of social welfare and social development. United Nations, when obviously, I've been doing UNDP, United Nations Development Program, working since 1965, they have appreciated, and many countries are now following this model. So what we are doing, what made us good into that? सुन के अजीब लग रहा है ना? I'm sure, have you heard this in newspaper? No. ये सब newspaper में रहता है. It depends. That's why I often say, there's a very famous saying, what your mind does not know, your eyes cannot see. ये सब आता newspaper में, but as your mind does not know, otherwise if your mind knows, trust me, in this year's prelims, 3 questions were advertised on Metro. From Nari Shakti to Matrutva Bandhan to Garba. It was advertised on Metro station. अब ये डिपेंड करता है हाउ अलर्ट यू आर अराउंड यू, कि आपको कितना दिख रहा है आसपास में, क्या क्या चीजें हो रही हैं. So that's why I often say this examination is not about having n number of books. Just stay alert, be application oriented. So if you see this way, aspirational district, UNDP has applauded us. Why they are saying? They are saying because look, when it comes to aspirational district program, what we have done in aspirational district program, that we had focused upon how phase manner, first the road, and then sanitation, safe drinking water, then education, and these kind of things. What are bottlenecks there, and how to fix those bottlenecks. So very much appreciated program now. As of now, 117 districts are there, just for information if you want to add it. In original document, aspirational district program, some additional information has been provided also. So when I'm saying original document, I mean to say economic survey original, which is running in almost 62 pages for this chapter. So then even focus on health and sanitation. So here they are trying to tell us that how we are more focusing on per rupee spent approach, that the money is being used properly with the help of data governance, with the help of targeted approach, not just vaguely giving money. So if you are giving money to the entire UP, may not be having that much productivity if you are focusing more on aspirational district. So that is what is targeted approach we are now having, even in social security scheme. Like one of the very supported scheme is Atal Pension Yojana. Atal Pension Yojana is still one of the very important scheme for informal sector, where just by paying in the multiple of hundreds, they will get pension in the multiple of thousands when they are 60. The scheme is at individual level. Even husband and wife both can have it at individual level and up to age of 40. So the last entry age is 40. So Atal Pension Yojana is again one of the very ambitious scheme. Earlier we had a similar scheme called Swavlamban since 2008, but that has been discontinued, and we got now Atal Pension Yojana. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana and Suraksha Bima Yojana, where by simple premiums, very basic, even in Suraksha Bima it's 20 rupees. So it covers accidental coverage, and then life insurances are provided to the weaker sections to ensure that social security is there. That's the reason why when we're talking about national pension scheme, new pension scheme. So NPS, what do you say? So NPS is for everyone. OPS was only for government employees. So in NPS now anyone can be the participant. So this way we are having various social security schemes. And if you see that, as I told you, that one thing is that CSR spending is something in social sector is also increasing. I hope you're knowing CSR. Corporate social responsibility says that those who are corporates, big corporates, they also spend some money for social causes. And who can do it? There are three criteria. If they have their capital of 500 crore, if they have net profit of 5 crore or above, or if they have turnover of 1000 crore. In that case, whatever their net profit is, 2% of that should go for corporate social responsibility. This is mandatory. For those who are above this, this is mandatory. And for those who are, you can say, below that, it is voluntary for them. It has been found that many of them who are below that limit are also doing CSR. Government is inviting CSR. In fact, in environment you will read, as per Paris Convention, we are also having now environment sustainability and corporate social responsibility report, which also tells us that how corporates are doing. So good news is that corporate expenditure in social sector has increased. So पहले तो हमने कहा government क्या कर रही है, कैसे कर रही है. Now they are saying, I hope I'm making sense. All right. Nahin? Fine. So when it comes to CSR, government is promoting CSR by ensuring that they should be coming forward and contributing. One of the sector where they can invest easily is education, skill development, health. So these are the sectors where we can say CSR has been promoted, and annual CSR spending has increased. That's a good thing. So public sector, though, is just 2%, still you can say that having 17% of the total CSR amount. So this is good thing, which we can say that public sector is contributing a lot in CSR. Halaki, I'm sure you're knowing, and in industry you will be reading it also, that government is moving towards strategic disinvestment and privatization. Abhi kal Arvind Pangadia was saying, yesterday only, he had said this officially, that 16 Finance Commission will focus on further disinvestment and privatization. वो infrastructure में will understand what is the need of it, उसको करने की ज़रूरत क्या है, because we have to work more on infrastructure now. So good part is that CSR, you can say maximum expenditure is in education, healthcare, rural development. So this is something where the case studies has been provided of Baramulla district, how, as I was telling you, in Baramulla, considering the topography, 20,000 pregnant women has been provided what is called birth waiting wards. They can stay there. Proper nutritious food is provided. So the moment they are in 9th month of conceiving, they can stay there. They are being provided proper nutritious food to ensure that they get institutional delivery. This way we are ensuring that, in fact, in Gumla, Jharkhand, we have seen that how self-help groups has been very instrumental in taking care of anemia. Anemia. अब देखिए दो तीन चीजें. Anemia is something, sickle cell anemia is still a problem. Our females are still suffering with it, and this is unfortunate. It is just because A, lack of awareness, B, maybe lack of cooperation. Because when they are entering into the menstrual cycle, calcium iron deficiency is natural. And if we are not telling them about this, we should not be talking about menstrual cycle, and look the kind of stereotypes we are having. Because of that simple thing, sickle cell anemia becomes common, and then when they're becoming mother, the situation gets further complex. So sickle cell anemia, and we are hoping that by 2047, this we will be completely anemia mukt Bharat. Though still it's a long uphill task, because more than 50% of the women still suffering in different degrees, especially areas like Jharkhand, Odisha, these areas. And that's why you might be knowing, or you will be reading here and there is what is called integrated child development scheme. In that we are focusing on this anemia. अभी आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू शेयर, हालांकि यहाँ पे तो आई डोंट नो हाउ दे मिस्ड इट, उनको इसको जरूर ऐड करना चाहिए था, बट मे बी शायद डॉक्यूमेंट थोड़ा पहले बन गया था. Sudha Murthy ji has rightly said about cervical cancer, and I think her pitching for vaccination of cervical cancer could be a game changer, and I'm keeping fingers crossed. आपको मेंस में सवाल दिख सकता है cervical cancer पे, because this is something which is a growing concern. अब आपको एक एक्ट्रेस याद आ रही है, मैं उनके बारे में कुछ नहीं बोल रहा है ना, लेकिन फिर भी सर्वाइकल कैंसर इज समथिंग विच इज डेफिनेटली वन ऑफ द कंसर्न्स, स्पेशली व्हेन वी हैव दिस ह्यूज यंग पॉपुलेशन. सो अवेयरनेस टू वैक्सीनेशन is something which should be the pitching. And honorable parliamentarian from Rajya Sabha, if she is talking about it, definitely it is now the central stage of the discussion. So soon we will listen ki some scheme or some budgetary allocation has been done. So this way Gumla is a very good example that how even with the help of self-help groups, और कैसे किया इन्होंने, यहाँ पर ये तो नहीं लिखा हुआ, but let me tell you exactly what they have done. एक तो they have done cultivation of ragi. I hope you're knowing that ragi, jwar, these kind of things, what you call millets or Shri Anna. Shri Anna, very good in nutrition. And interestingly, in nook and corner of the country, lagbhag India ke har kone mein, we get one of the other kind of Shri Anna, which is very nutritious and climate friendly. It is with the changing climate also, and that's why India is pitching for millet cultivation. Millet cultivation पे हम काफ़ी काम कर रहे हैं. I hope you know 2023 was the international year for millet also. So we are pitching for it. And millet is again one of those things which we can export easily. Provided, so foxnut आजकल तो बड़ा नया कैल्शियम का नया डाइट हो गया है, मखाना जिसको बोलते हैं ना, foxnut and these kind of things. So time has come to encash these. So what they have done, ragi cultivation mixed with some local inputs became very useful for taking care of malnutrition of those pregnant women or lactating mothers. So this way Gumla gave us very good story. In fact, almost similar thing was Tulsi Gowda was doing. Anyone from Karnataka might recall that lady Tulsi Gowda. But the entire India should know. Who's Tulsi Gowda? Yes, Padam Shri awardee, and she is having a lot of knowledge about this local medicinal plants, which could be very instrumental to take care of. In fact, still, if you see that there are a lot of things in our local biodiversity which could be useful for tackling the malnutrition. This is called integrated system of medicine given by M.S. Swaminathan. M.S. Swaminathan used the term for it called integrated system of medicine. Along with allopathy, these things also should be examined. So Gumla has given us that example, that how ISM actually could be useful. So these are some of the stories. अब ये सब आप लिख सकते हो in your example, that how from aspiration to transformation. Aspiration means we want to do, and transformation that we have achieved it. So that is how you can say that they had given example that how overall things are improving. Then the next thing which they had given it is in chapters, is in various parts. So the next thing they had talked about, what is overall progress in terms of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog report of multidimensional poverty index. देखिए MPI was introduced in 2010 by UNDP, and there's one institution called OPHI, Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. In 2010, MPI was introduced at global level. And this MPI, Multidimensional Poverty Index, is something which is based upon data collected from several sources. If you see in India, 2005-6, 53.7% of multidimensional poor there. 2005-6. 2015-16, it became 27%. So tremendous achievement. Tremendous achievement. Needless to say, government efforts of Dr. Manmohan Singh was there. Then 2015-16 to 2022 now, we are at 15%. So now currently 15% population of India is multidimensional poor. That's a good news. But unfortunate thing is, out of 6, 5 of them are either SC or ST. Primarily scheduled tribes. This is something which we have to be worried about. And that's why PM Janman is one of the very ambitious schemes dedicated to tribes. So this way, we have to make sure that how people are contributing. And overall, even Niti Aayog has the similar data. Various states have witnessed, states like Jharkhand, UP has done tremendous work when they had witnessed that how many people have come out of the multidimensional poverty index. This data you should be only remembering when you're writing mains, the latest data. So not that way, but you should be at least having some trend analysis that how multidimensional poverty index is continuously reducing. One good news is household consumption expenditure survey. I hope you're knowing there's a department called, ministry called MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implement. I hope आप बोर तो नहीं हो रहे, क्योंकि continuous data is there, तो कहीं ऐसा लग रहा हो कि alright bombardment हो रहा है. नहीं, because this is how it's supposed to be. Because I know people think that classroom should have also a lot of jokes and all. Somehow I'm not. I think your time is important, is precious. So if you see this way, when it comes to the idea of household consumption, this is given by MOSPI at every 5th year. This time the data has come at the gap of 10 years. But one good news is that monthly per individual, जिसको आप कहते हैं monthly per capita consumption expenditure, that has increased, and the gaps are reducing. The gaps are reducing, and the interesting part is now people are spending more in non-giffen goods. There's one thing called giffen goods and all. So people are buying more clothes, mobile, these kind of things. What does it mean? Overall improvement is there. So they have taken, these are the references. जब भी आपको बात करना हो इंडिया में poverty के लिए कि poverty has reduced. So one of the very handy data is definitely multidimensional poverty index, then household consumption survey, and then RBI also provides one consumption survey. So these 3 are very good data to identify that actually at grassroots level, poverty has reduced. In fact, this could be very useful for you. आपको एक जहाँ पे होना चाहिए. They had given this scheme, some of the major schemes which has been done in healthcare sector. ये आपको एक जहाँ पे पता होना चाहिए. One of the very prominent scheme is Ayushman Bharat. Ayushman Bharat is having 2 components. One is called Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Nidhi, and other is development of health and wellness center. So Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya provides for insurance up to 5 lakh rupees. 5 lakh rupees medical insurance is provided to almost, now you can say 11 crore families. A family of 5 members can be the beneficiary of it. So this way we have now 5 lakh rupees per family medical insurance, that is with cashless hospitalization. So what is the case now? Anyone can take that Ayushman Jan Arogya. There are some deprivation list ki who should be given the priority. Pehle kisko denge? So now people, you apply for it. If you are falling into those criteria, you will get that Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya, and you can go to any hospital and the cashless treatment will be provided. Cashless treatment is provided. It is actually going on. Now you can see when you are going by across the hospital ki hamare yahan PM Ayushman is accepted. So Ayushman card, that is called as. In fact, as I told you, for anything data is very important. We also have what is called Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Digital Mission, where we are having data synchronized. So each of us are now having one thing called Ayushman Bharat Health Account, Abha card. What is this Abha card? Where all your detail, whatever medicine has been taken, God forbidden if any illness, that detail. Then insurance detail of various stakeholders, medicines. So this way we are, uh, I hope you're knowing there's one thing called sandbox. So we are doing what? Integrated data is available. Integrated data is available to make sure कि जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स हो सकते हैं, where the medicines are available, where the blood checkup can be done, where we can have what is called treatment insurers, civil societies, NGOs, etc., who are participating. So this way we are ensuring that each and every one is getting interconnected. So Ayushman Digital Mission is there, that is called Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. Then Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Kendra. Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Kendra provide generic drugs, hyphenating generic drugs and standard drugs. Whenever a drug is researched and figured out, then for 20 years, the intellectual property right of that drug is with the concerned company who has funded in research. So let's say you have a company who researched and figured out a drug for cancer. Now you will be having 20-year control on the price of that drug because आपने पैसा खर्च किया है, you have done research and so, and after 20 years it will be considered generic. In medicine, the cost is not medicine, the cost is this IPR. And from 2005, as per WTO Doha Round guidelines, this is applicable. This is called TRIPS. So as per TRIPS, this is applicable. However, there is a provision also, if this is a life-saving drug, IPR rules might be overlooked. That is called TRIPS flexibility, as we have seen in COVID vaccines. Even in cervical cancer vaccine, we are also pitching for it. ये एक फायदा हुआ है कि now we can pitch for TRIPS flexibility in that vaccination also. So this way, we are ensuring that generic drugs, good quality generic drugs are available at a very cheap price with what is called Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Kendra. Then Amrit is there. This is especially for various transplantation. Now for most of the transplantation, bypass, heart surgeries, etc., we have fixed the upper limit. Earlier, stinting kind of thing also, they may charge lakhs. Simple spring पड़ती है ₹2 की. Anyone from medical profession, please don't take me personally, you know what exactly it is. But considering this, now we had Amrit is to put an upper cap कि for these kind of surgeries, for these kind of treatments, you cannot charge more than this. So it's very much needed, and this way we make sure that they are not having, you can say, arbitrary pricing, that whatever price they think they can charge upon. Ayushman Bhav campaign is there to provide healthcare facilities. Then e-Sanjeevani is a very important development. Telemedicine. Now you have virtual doctors. We can see that every panchayat is now having facility of e-Sanjeevani. So you can have what is called virtual doctors. You can talk to them. You can take second opinion also of some of the senior doctors. So telemedicine facility is there. And we have a health portal also. Where these things are integrated. So this is how they have talked about what has been done in terms of health. So far we are going step by step. What they have done first, said what we are doing in terms of social welfare, how much of budgetary allocation we are doing. Then next they had said that how we can make sure that expenditure are better with certain case studies. Then they had said that what else has been done. Now each of them, what we are doing in terms of health, what we are doing in terms of education, and so and so. So these are some of the schemes. Jahan bhi aap health likhte ho, it is in your syllabus, paper 2. Paper 2 we have topic na, that health education. So health, wherever you're writing, these schemes should be there. You should be having, these are the major, along with some more schemes like National Health Policy 2017. And then this is something which is the catch area for you all now. For this year's mains, next year's mains, and for years to come now, India and the world is going to face the new monster called mental health. And they have used two terms for it, the annoxious generation and doom trolling. And I think both the words are right. What is doom trolling? What is mental health? Mental health is that you are mentally at stability with proper attention, with what is called understanding how to manage stress, uh, emotional well-being. Because again, look, things will not necessarily will always go in your ways, and you should know how to manage stress. Depression is something which is emerging as a new disease. Loneliness, itne sare log hain, loneliness, go and talk to someone, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? But no, I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling depressed. What is depressed? What is depression? Depression is that you're thinking too much about past. Anxiety is you're thinking too much about future. Just one thing you have to understand, not everything will happen the way you want, full stop. Not everything will happen the way you want. Some of it may happen, some of it may not, and you should be ready for plan B too. If it goes in your way, wonderful. If it goes other way around, go for plan B. So these things should be part of curriculum, they had said. And I don't know, I don't sound like, I don't want to be sounding like someone from the older generation, called generation gap, because it happens. Every generation is bound to say to the next generation that it got ruined. And that is happening since Aristotle's time. So don't worry. Chief Economic Advisor is not exception to it. But at the same time, we need to understand that yes, mental health is a concern. Is a concern. And one of the reasons is because of too much of exposure to the electronic devices and going away from the nature. As wonderfully written in the original document, as you are going away from the nature and more into the virtual world, mental health is a concern. Your sleeps are disturbed now because your mobile is having already some kind of blue light, and that is something which hindrances your good sleep. आप सीधा से काम कर सकते हो, जो लोग थोड़ी बहुत फिजिक्स जानते हो, आप इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन का कोई भी ऐप डाउनलोड कर लो and see in your room how much of electromagnetic radiation. You will be surprised, my God, I'm living in this much of electromagnetic radiation, and all thanks to me, because these many devices are open. So these are the things these are the new challenges in health, and we should not be shy of talking it. India, as early as 2014, has introduced national mental health dimension, has been highlighted in 2014, and out of 7, 1 young is suffering with some other mental disorder. 1 young is suffering with some other mental disorder, and it is something to do with what kind of eating habits you are having, how much of digital exposure you are having, what kind of lifestyle you are having. That's why Fit India campaign, that in India, this is surprising that youngsters are now facing the problem of obesity. Youngsters are facing the problem of malnutrition. Now look, and these things are not somebody to be blamed upon. ये किसी एक को blame करने की चीज नहीं. We all have to understand that it is something where maybe your system is growing now that way. So this is what the report is actually highlighting about, how mental health is something which has been, so what is mental well-being? When people are able to cope up with the stresses of life. In fact, I hope this is bad news for us, that India has to make a suicide policy now. We had made a policy in 2023 to identify, and we are going to introduce these things in your syllabus now gradually. Because look, this is something unfortunate, but yes, number of suicides have increased dramatically. And if you see that rising prevalence, that as per National Mental Health Survey, 10.6 of adult in India, means out of every 10, 1 adult is suffering with one or the other kind of mental disorders. And don't trust me, go and see these pubs. I often say they work like donkeys in the day, they jump like monkeys in the night. That is their lifestyle now. You can't stay in that sound if you're mentally sound. Someone with a mental sound cannot stay in that much of sound. Trust me. You have to bit inebriated and what you call high. Then only, so mental health is something which has to be taken more seriously, in more structured fashion, is what I think is the catch. पहली बार मैं देख रहा हूँ economic surveys highlighting almost 4 or 5 pages for it. At least from 2016-17, so I am following it almost every year. So The first time I can witness. Last year, budget has talked about it a lot. So mental health is something which is definitely a concern, and you can say ये data थोड़ा याद रहेगा 10 में से 1. You can say loosely speaking, out of 10, 1 is, and in the youngsters it is, you can say that 1 into 7, 10 से 19 वाले में 1 in 7, and 1 in every 8 people having some other mental disorders is WHO. क्यों हो रहा है? एक तो doom scrolling is the way people are. पता नहीं आपने, you have noticed it or not, कभी जाके मेरा बस चलता तो मैं I would have made that photograph available in the books also. It is very horrifying. In AIMS we got a mental health department for rehab for digital doom scrollers. जैसे रिहैब होता था ड्रग्स के लिए, अब हमारे पास डूम स्क्रॉलर्स के लिए भी वो है, एक रिहैब सेंटर है. अ किड वाज, हिज हैंड्स वर टाइट एंड स्टिल हैंड्स वर मूविंग दिस वे, almost on automatic mode. This is something to be worried about, and a horrible picture. Might be indicating something very big. Very big is, continuously. So look, this is something telling us that how maybe some neural disorder might have created because of that. That is what they are looking at. So that's why even they said it's as good as tobacco. Thankfully, tobacco ही बोला, LSD नहीं बोला. So it is as good as tobacco. So you need to understand, maybe worse than that in time will prove it, because you are continuously into what? An envy mode. The worst part of the social media is you're continuously in envy mode. Wonderful research has been done these days on mental health and social media. कि आप continuous envy mode पे हो, कि somebody has uploaded the picture and you are feeling bad about your life. पता है, there is one thing called relative deprivation. पड़ोसी के घर बिजली ना हो और आपके घर ना हो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होती, पड़ोसी के घर बिजली और आपके घर ना हो ज़्यादा तकलीफ होती. Now you are saying हम यहाँ पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, कुछ है नहीं, and this fellow is traveling across the world and look at the pictures. Envy is being created continuously. And if you got 50, 60 friends, 50, 60 photographs, now look at the quantum of stress unnecessarily demanded. So बड़े अच्छे से original document में they had explained all these things, that what exactly doom scrolling is leading to, and then when it comes to, this is something which you can use. NCPCR has called this the anxious generation. Very emotionally charged. जरा जरा सी बात में बहुत परेशान हो जाता है. As the sky is falling, nothing will happen, trust me. So that's how the anxious generation. So somehow I found the term is bit harsh. Though I'm too small a fish, but had I been someone there, I would have said, sir, term ko thoda dilute kariye, thoda zyada ho gaya ye, anxious generation. But somehow they are emotionally charged for sure. That we need to understand. And it is because they are continuously into that thought process. And that's why it should be part of. So social media is akin to tobacco, they had said, and this is Vivek Murthy's research, that how they are akin to tobacco and generations are getting affected. So I think there should be advisory before social media. This is dangerous for your health. Before every reel, something like that. Or maybe devices may come after a certain period, it may take automatic shut down. Something like that could be created, that using AI and that kind of thing, it may take automatic shutdown after a certain period. Then whatever the major mental health policies, अब ये आपके लिए इसलिए important हो जाता है because they may ask question on mental health, and that time this could be very useful to quote. What has been done? We have National Mental Health Policy 2014, which has been incorporated in National Health Policy now. National Education Policy talks about it. District Mental Health Program is there at district level. Then we have National Tele-Mental Health Program. There is one thing called Manodarpan also, when you can call and you can talk about that, what are the concerns, what the things are. And then Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram, Ayushman Bharat School Health and Wellness Program. When we are talking about, and the time has come when the mental health should be part of your curriculum also, has been highlighted by Chief Economic Advisor. He's saying that economic survey is highlighting it should be part of your curriculum. They should be talked about it. It should be discussed in the classrooms. And that's how, look, just Meghalaya mein we got, in Delhi we got one thing called happiness curriculum. That is something which is a good initiative. Meghalaya is already, Galaxy is doing wonderful work there. Meghalaya is having multiple challenges, even from drugs to these kind of challenges for the youngsters. So Galaxy is a group there doing wonderful program under CSR funding from the global. And when we are talking to the youngsters, engaging them creative activities, so to make sure that they are going away from these devices and so. So one thing which is policy recommendation, they said that increase the number of psychiatrists also. In fact, this is, I think, a promising job in future. Look how wonderful it is. People are paying you to listen them. This is going to be. So I often say, if you're talkative, be teacher. If you're a good listener, be psychiatrist. And सिर्फ आपको सुनने के वैसे मिलते हैं. They really just want that they are being heard. They are being heard. And they are being ventilated and catheterized. Ventilation and catheterizis of whatever is running in their head. So they had said it, and it's very rightly, WHO has highlighted it. Now we need to increase these kind of consultancies, be it telemedicine or be it psychiatrists. And then mental health curriculum should be there. Mental health curriculum. In country like India, the situation gets even more complex for females, considering the social construct. That's why they say age-specific, age-appropriate mental health curriculum should be there. And then we should have bottom-up strategy, looking at what are the challenges and accordingly going up. So overall, अब ये आपको ध्यान नहीं रहेगा, but अगर याद रह जाए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, that there is one thing called the government expenditure, THE, that is total health expenditure. In that, अगर इंडिया में जो भी हेल्थ पे खर्चा होता है, whatever expenditure you are doing on health is called the THE. In that, some part will be done by government, some part will be done by private, some we will be paying, that is called out-of-pocket expenditure. Some might be coming from various funds and grants. So we have that detail provided by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So that statistics is telling that in India, we can say that mental health expenditure has increased. But आपको इतना ही ध्यान रखना है, I don't think कि आपको उतना ज़्यादा याद रहेगा कि हाँ, how you have spent. And overall government का जो expenditure है health पर, वो बढ़ रहा है. Good news is out of pocket expenditure has gone down. ये आपको ध्यान रखना चाहिए. Out of pocket expenditure means because health के साथ सबसे बड़ा issue ये होता है कि the individual is suffering, but also financial losses are there. In fact, there is one term in poverty called secondary poor. Secondary poor are those who were otherwise not poor but became poor because of health and such like challenges. So in India, we have huge number of secondary poor because out-of-pocket expenditure is high. So that should be taken into consideration, has been highlighted. Good news is that that has reduced. It's still very high, 47% of the total expenditure, but has been reduced from 64. So that's a good sign. IMR has reduced. IMR of India is now 28. That's a good data that we are at 20. IMR is how many infants are dying per 1,000 live birth in a year. That is IMR. And infants are up to 52 weeks from birth. So number of IMR has reduced. MMR is, when we say maternal mortality rate, how many females are dying due to birth-related issues per lakh birth. So that's where, again, you can say the data has reduced to 97. So per lakh birth mein, 97 females are dying due to pregnancy issues, including abortion issues. India is one of those countries having highest number of unsafe abortions. The reason is because that's why Claudia Golden, she got Nobel Prize in economics last year. She has identified, ये data थोड़ा चौंकाने वाला है. In India, between 17 to 25 age group, most of the conceiving is involuntary, as high as 64%. Means they don't want to conceive, but as contraceptives are not available or they were not informed, and that often leads to what is called unsafe abortions. Uninformed, unsafe abortions, creating a challenge called reproductive health. Look, obviously they are having that freedom. It's their choices. We are not here to teach anyone ethical lessons are necessary. but at least they should be aware of it. They should make their choices willfully, by making contraceptives available, by making, other facilities and information available. This is what as a wonderful study she has done. So considering this, even in India, good part is that maternal mortality rate is reducing, and obviously we are working on every front. So these are some of the data, key data. This is बार भी इन्होंने TFR definition पूछ ली. This is very basic. अगर आपको TFR की definition, this was in prelims, and trust me, this is I often say in classes, in even most difficult paper of your PT is mathematically difficult also, because so many people, in most difficult paper, at least 30 to 35 questions are low hanging fruits. ठीक एनसीईआरटी पढ़ लिया, थोड़े कंसेप्ट पे काम कर लिए, वो आसानी से हो जाता है. और आप क्या करते हो, यू गो फॉर बिग बिग थिंग्स एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ दीज बेसिक थिंग्स. बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहे हैं, एमएमआर नहीं पता क्या होता है. सो वो 35 क्वेश्चन जब गलत होते, देन यू रिड्यूस योर प्रोबेबिलिटी. वो ठीक होने चाहिए. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, इवन इन 2023 जहां पे अपने 38 क्वेश्चन कट ऑफ देखा, इवन इन दैट ईयर 35 क्वेश्चंस वर डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम एनसीईआरटी एंड बेसिक थिंग्स. So just 3 questions you're shy of, and I think quite manageable. Even this year, if the cutoff is, let's say, 40, 42, then even not much of the difference. ये आपको ये गलत नहीं होने चाहिए. And that will be possible only when you read the news and try to establish the link कि क्या हो रहा है, why the things are. This is what I'm trying to give you. कि ऐसे तो I can say ये लिखा नहीं. I'm trying to give you that connection also, that where you should be focusing upon, what are the things. So this way, the entire health thing, अब आपको करना क्या होता है, this year's health economic survey, if you have read in your health issues in your class already, well and good. If not, you can take a note that these are some of the schemes, and when health will be discussed, you can add it. Or if you have already done it, I'm sure most of the schemes has been taught, you can just add a few more and some key data and some case studies, so that your answer is ready, whatever they are asking. But mental health is very important. Take a note of it wherever you are writing your priority topics. So this way we got, when we talk about health, I hope I'm making sense. Again, in all the 4 papers, particularly second and third paper of GS, you should have some 60-70 topics beforehand ready, and your answer should be also less or more prepared for it, because this is where you can take the edge. First paper is very open-ended. God knows from where they can ask. The entire history, the entire geography, and so fourth paper is again, directionless. Directionless from the prediction point of view. Not directionless per se, that is the perhaps most directed paper. But second paper and third paper is where you have the list possible. So you should make these kind of lists. Don't ask if somebody can give me that list. It has to be prepared by yourself, by looking at your own things and all. So mental health is definitely priority for the government, and should be priority even in your preparation also, that what things has been done. And it's a very good source here, that what we are doing it. Then in terms of education, this is something very factual. Then they had talked about what is national new education policy, what are the dimensions of the education policy, what has been done. I hope, ईमानदारी से बताइएगा, कितने लोगों को SDG पूरा याद है? All 17? 1. All right. Look, ये होना चाहिए. कोई आपको सोते हुए भी कहे ना कि SDG ये क्या है? That should be, obviously, and it's very logically connected. सबसे पहले क्या बात होती? Poverty खत्म हो. Second is hunger नहीं हो. Third is health comes first then education. Health comes first then education. Keep this in mind. Third is health. Fourth is education. Fifth is gender empowerment. Sixth is safe drinking water and sanitation. Seventh is clean and affordable energy. Eighth is decent work and economic growth. Ninth is infrastructure development. 10th is reducing inequalities. 11th is sustainable cities and urbanization. 12th is responsible consumption and production. 13 is climate action. 14th is life underwater. 15th is life on earth. 16 is international collaboration for peace, justice, and 17th is international collaboration. Now, ये तो बिल्कुल कभी भी आपको कोई भी कहे, इसलिए क्योंकि most of your questions and most of your things are judged on that basis. So that's why you should be taking care of it. Now this list is there. NISTHA is training program for teachers. Earlier it was supposed to be offline, but due to COVID now it's online. So all teachers across the country are given training about do's and don'ts. Then we have District Institute of Education training, that is something for again teachers training program. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya is a very good initiative for deprived girls from SC, ST and other weaker sections, so that residential campus is provided for their education. Parak is 360-degree new assessment center. So now, as per new education policy, you will be assessed with a new methodology of assessment. That is something which is prepared for with the Parak. Parak is the center for it. Then we have Diksha, that is again digital platform for school education. Then we have STARS, that is for teachers. Then we have Pradhan Mantri School for Rising India, PM Shri. This is one of the most ambitious scheme if we go with the budgetary allocation. PM Shri is going to change the outlook of the entire primary schools with digital classrooms, better access to the safe drinking water, sanitation and such like facilities. 24,000 crore rupees is going to be the allotment in the nutshell. So this way, PM Shri. Then we have what is called Ullas is another Karikram. PM Poshan is the new name for midday meal. Midday meal scheme has been now called as PM Poshan. And Vidyanjali is something when we are asking volunteers to contribute for education of others. I think India should go with that kind of slogan now. Each one should teach one. Har ek ki zimmedari le. So Vidyanjali is voluntary contribution. Anjali is donating something. So Vidyanjali is then when you are donating education. So that is voluntary contribution, a very good initiative and doing showing good results. We already have what is called National Curriculum Framework. I hope you're knowing. National Education Policy is talking about new curriculum altogether for basic schooling up to class 3, then from class 3 to class 12, then higher school, higher education, and even for teachers. So that is what they had talked about. These things are routine things, Again, nothing much. Girls' education has been prioritized. So यहाँ पर education में ऐसा कुछ बहुत catchy नहीं था. It was just whatever routine things were national. National education policy. I'm sure you have heard of it. नहीं. So National Education Policy 2000, which is definitely game changer with 3-4 major initiatives. So उसी का एक report card है and nothing much significant has been highlighted. So but yes, this could be good at one place. ये आपको वैसे मिलता नहीं है. I think this is a very good bird's eye view you'll get of all the schemes which you should be talking about when you talk about education. So that's how they had talked about what is there in higher education, what has been done, and then what exactly we have automated permanent academic account registry. In fact, I hope you're knowing that now every kid will be having ABC, account bank of credit. Now every kid when is getting registered will have account bank of credit. And let's say I studied in class 12 something, then in class 10 before that, and now I'm 40 plus and I want to learn something more in computer science. It will be added in my credits. So now we are going to make the entire education system credit based. Credit is one of the best methodology of assessment, which makes sure lifelong learning process is accumulated. So now it's possible that you are a student of humanities and you can study biotechnology also. And it will be acknowledged. So now we are not having that watertight compartments, that BA, that MA, and then BSc, MSc. So you can take interdisciplinary approach. And from the beginning, lifelong, you will have this credit system. Whatever you're reading, something related will be added into that. So this way we have already account back of credit. Swayam is very important initiative, which was again providing online platforms for education. Swayam Prabha is when we are having direct to home services. Swayam Prabha is providing more than 30 channels in different languages, where various class and details and good quality classrooms are made available. Direct to home service, free of cost. So आपके जो भी DTH आपके घर में होगा, if you go scroll beyond 300 numbers, you'll start having Swayam Prabha channels, having wonderful classes. हालांकि आप इतना दूर जाते नहीं हो, I know, but wonderful channels, when that classroom has been provided. And then PM E-Vidya again very good initiative, and I'm keep crossing fingers कि ये इसका next level जल्दी आ जाए. PM E-Vidya में we got 12 channels, each for one class, class 1, class 2, class 3, and each channel is having not only the books and contents at one place, but at the same time, some quality videos also uploaded. In fact, like you are having struggling NCRT sometime, you can refer to them wonderfully. So you can see that best of the videos are available, something where NCRT has been very active. And now they are going to the next level. This is what Prime Minister has hinted, that probably this will be further extended to various competitive examination preparation also. So this might be then reducing the gap between the rural urban facilities. So PM E-Vidya is there, which is definitely, and then it has been advised what should be done way forward. R&D mein what we are doing, 1 lakh patent in financial year 2024, but unfortunately we are even lagging from the countries like Vietnam. ये थोड़ा चिंता की बात है. Vietnam is doing better than us. I often say Vietnam is a dark horse. Halaki, he is also unfortunate. Vietnam, she is also unfortunate because the neighborhood is having political turmoil, be it now Bangladesh, even Myanmar, and वो थोड़ा Vietnam के लिए issue है. Vietnam herself is having its own turbulence. But then even Vietnam, and because look, decoupling with the China, as people are not happy with the China, that's why economic advisor had advised us, आप वहाँ industry वाले chapter में पढ़ोगे कि don't be happy with the decoupling. Maybe we are not getting the benefit of that. If we are not working on it, maybe we will not get the benefit. So he has very cautiously highlighted that maybe we might not get the benefit, somebody else will, if we are not working in that direction. But the good news is India is continuously improving, and R&D expenditure is increasing, is still very less, almost 0.7% of the GDP. While in USA, if you see, it is almost 3.5%, China it is 2.4%, Israel is at the top, almost 6%. And the current data is 5, Israel. That's how they are surviving in that atmosphere. The maximum R&D they are doing. So God knows what they are creating now. So this way, but yes, we are assuming that at least 2 to 3% of GDP should be spent on R&D. And this is where private sector should step in. Because in India, still R&D is done by government, as per DBT, Department of Biotechnology. They had said that still most of the R&D across the sectors is something which is done by public sector institutions only. Private sector institutions are not contributing much. That's why government requested private sector to come and participate into R&D sector. So uski थोड़ी सी उन्होंने बात की है कि कैसे है, that has been done, and what has been done for overall social economic empowerment of women. Social economic empowerment of women, what we have done for them is happening gender budgeting. Gender budgeting is, what is gender budgeting? What is gender budgeting? Gender budgeting is gender budgeting. What is gender budgeting? Fine. Look, gender budgeting is not just budgetary allocation, but to see the things from gender angle. जैसे एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल आपको बताऊं तो शायद अंदाजा लगे. Do you know, had not been gender budgeting, we could have never known this. At airports, you have smoking room. That was the first victory of gender budgeting. At airport, you have smoking rooms, but no room for lactating mothers. When you see first aid kit anywhere, आपके यहाँ भी होगा, उसमें what do you have? Dettol. What do you have? Maybe cephamycin, maybe some painkiller, maybe some stomach ache medicine, maybe some headache medicine. Why not sanitary towel? Why not? Now, these things were highlighted when gender budgeting started. Gender budgeting said, whatever budgetary allocation has been done, we see it from the gender perspective, whether justification has been done or not. And the gender allocation also should be for sensitization program. It also should be for gender audit. So, Ministry of Women and Child Development is the sole authority for gender budgeting. And India gender budgeting, though started in 2003, it was started in 2003, and subsequently Subsequently, gender budgeting is something which has been further empowered, and from 2006 onwards, you can say gender budgeting was reflected in your budget. 2017, it has been made mandatory for all central government departments and ministries. So they are saying that how gender budgeting, there's a continuous rise, if you see. So this year we can say 38.7% rise in gender budgeting. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is one of the very important initiative since 2015. So uski baat ki, and sex ratio at birth has improved from 918 to 930. क्योंकि उस समय बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ, when we are talking about, sex ratio was there, which has got dramatically reduced. Then maternal mortality rate has declined. They've talked about it. Institutional deliveries has increased. And then you can say nutritional security of women and child through Anganwadi centers. That is something which has been increased further. Then if you see that in case of females, whatever has been done for their education and skilling, that has been highlighted. And very important, what is the case of STEM? In STEM, you know, that is whether the females are there in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now that we are talking STEM with another M called medical science. So STEM is something where we can see that how females are participating. That is what women in science. So graduate females in STEM has increased. That is a good thing. Why it is, how it is being done? Because continuously IBM and Department of Science and Technology, they had come with the various schemes like Kiran, Vigyan Bharati, and so, so that we are going to the colleges and schools and talking to the students that what are the reasons why they are not going for science and technology, engineering, mathematics, what should be done. So that is how they have talked about what has been done for economic empowerment of women. Then even this data, that how the good part is that female labor participation rate has increased. So if you see overall female labor participation has increased, resulting in economic empowerment. And the good part is that for females, asset ownership has increased, because for gender inequality, one of the reason is that unke naam se assets nahi hai. They don't have property in their name. I hope you're knowing one data called socioeconomic caste census. In socioeconomic caste census, data is showing that only 12% female have land ownership. So that is something which is worrisome data. So considering this, obviously, asset ownership is something which is increasing. Abhi routine data hai, there is nothing much to say about it. Then they talked about what we have done for banking, financial things in villages, what has been education, Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, health, we have already talked about, and what has been done for Manrega. But you know, Manrega mein we are having geotagging now, along with what is called direct benefit transfers. So Manrega mein sara DBT pe hai. I am sure you're knowing Manrega, of 100 days employment is provided, and we are having geotagging of it. So that is something which has been highlighted. So this is again a very good scheme at one place, that what has been done for rural development, because rural economy is something backbone. So Deen Dayal Upadhyay Yojana, that is National Rural Livelihood Mission, NRLM, or Ajivika. Then we have Lakpati Didi initiative, we have Saras Ajivika portal, startup village entrepreneurship program for the village people, and then we have Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana for skill development. So and then what has been done like E-Gram, Swaraj, Bhu Aadhar, Swamitva is another very important development for land reforms, when we are having digitalization and more improvised mapping of the village areas. In the last, they had also provided that where we are in terms of SDG. You know, Niti Aayog every year prepare one thing called SDG India Index, where states are divided into 4 categories on a scale of 0 to 100. Those states who are 0 to 50, agar unka score 0 se 50 aata hai, to they are called aspirants. If their score is 50 to 64, they are called performer. If their score is from 65 to 99, they are called front runner. And if their score is 100, then they are called achievers. The good news is that 34 state and UTs are now front runners. That means we are continuously improving in terms of what is called SDG performances. So SDG India Index is made by Niti Aayog to provide us. This time Uttarakhand has topped it. So this way we got overall performance, that how SDG is performing from 2018. Look how we have achieved. So overall, if you see that how many of them achiever, front runner, can you see the score 100, 65 to 99 and so. So अब ये रूटीन चीज़ है जो आपको SDG में आप पढ़ते हो कि SDG क्या है and what is this SDG India Index. But yes, it's a very good reference point. Let's say you are saying something about what is India's welfare story. You can say how we have improved in SDG India Index and so. And then the conclusion of it, whatever has been said कि हाँ reform welfare approach is there, digitalization and so. एक थोड़ा सा information additional है कि what budget had said, social welfare expenditure has been increased this year also, and overall if you say that up to 7.5 lakh rupees loan for the you can say needy has been provided. Higher education is something promoted. Skilling India, this is something which was needed on the onset of challenges of, because one of the factors definitely in the election was employment. So we had got a Prime Minister's package where almost 2 lakh crore rupees will be spent. So in that Prime Minister's package, we are saying that how there should be skilling program and how 20 lakh youth will be skilled over a period of time. Here we are asking that private sector under CSR should participate. For females, we had said that they are our priority areas. Working hostels for females has been increased. This is what budget is saying, and these are digital public infrastructure, now social infrastructure, doom scrolling and so. So this was, again, this was a big chapter, needless to say, and trust me, from your mains point of view, अगर आपने इस chapter को ठीक से समझ लिया थोड़ा, this is what I was trying to focus upon, और आपने अपने notes बना लिए, तो at least 1-2 question in your second paper, which may be revolving around health and education, 1 or 2 question of development industries in first paper. This is where you might get benefited in true sense. So this is how we got. एक बार quickly हम देख लें whatever the questions has been asked. Which of the following is the purpose of the Atal Pension Yojana? I just told you Atal Pension Yojana is for what? Social security. Just by paying multiple of hundreds, you'll get multiple of 1000 as pension. So health insurance cover of rupees 5 lakh. ये कौन सी scheme है? Ayushman. Affordable social security scheme, yes. Subsidiary medicine for critical illness, this is Amrit. Telemedicine for virtual doctor consultancy, E-Sanjeevani. Now this is how you should be correct. So you know the answer now. B. Which of the following is the purpose of Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya? Residential school for girls from disadvantaged group, that is Kasturba. Scholarship for meritocratic student from EW sector to arrest their dropout, that is in several schemes, including even what we are doing in Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan aims at reducing the dropout below 20%. Then one hot cooked meal for a student of class 1 onwards in government and government aided school. कौन सी scheme है ये? PM Poshan, not Poshan, PM Poshan. Poshan is for women, pregnant women. So that is PM Poshan. So midday meal का ही नया नाम है, that is PM Poshan. Accessibility of education for children with special need. That is something which is in your Divyangjan category. So उसके लिए we have different schemes for their education. So I hope the answer is A. Consider the following statement regarding the impact of Ayushman Bharat. It aims to provide treatment at much lower cost compared to private options. ये आप कहीं भी access कर सकते हो. And then it provides for health insurance cover of 10 lakh rupees. 5 lakh, the statement is wrong. That way. Both of them. Then consider the following pair. Swayam is mock platform for online learning. That is right. And thanks to IITians, IIT Delhi was the idea, he was the one who gave the idea. And then Swayam Prabha, DTS channel, I told you already we have 30 plus channels. PME Vidya, digital platform for school education. Having 12 dedicated channels for each class. So that means all the 3 statements are right. Which of the following schemes aim to address the underrepresentation of girl in various science and technology courses? Vigyan Jyoti, I told you, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao is for what? To reduce the female based sex abortions or sex selections. So that is something what is the purpose of Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, so that sex ratio should improve. And Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana is a saving document with the post office where up to 10 years of age, any girl child, we can get a certain amount registered, and when the girl child is becoming 18, then amount is made available. So this is a very good initiative of postal department, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. And Nari Shakti Vandan Abhiyan is definitely for look, अब देखिए नारी शक्ति में भी इन्होंने क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा आपसे. If you see what question there was, that it will be applicable from 2029. अगर आपको ये पता होता तो you would have answered. दुनिया भर की बातें आप सोच रहे हो, कब से अवेलेबल होगा नहीं पता. So this is where the point is. So these are some of the things. And now in fact this is a very famous quote said by several, that it's not women development, it's women led development and women owned development, because I told you that asset right should be there. So you can write that question. And then we need some rethinking of mental health. Mental health is again a serious concern that you should be considering. So this was about this chapter. You need a break or should we continue? Break की जरूरत है. चलिए, because इसके बाद chapter छोटे and we can go quick on it also. ऐसा कुछ बहुत, but this chapter is very significant from your mains point of view. Don't skip it. This is my request. क्योंकि देखिए वही बात है कि शायद मेंस के पहले इतना सब कुछ होता है करने को कि that time you get messed up. So better you should be cleaning the plate. अभी अभी साथ में बनाते चलेंगे तो उस समय बहुत आसान हो जाता है, चीज़ों को सिर्फ रिवाइज करना होता है. So that is it. On the other side of the break, we'll talk about employment and other chapters. We'll go quick on it. Fine. So the next chapter is about employment and skill development. Now again, most of the things we have already discussed, that's why it will be rather easy now, you can say, to move further. In this chapter, what they had highlighted, as I told you, that this economic survey has been written on the onset of this election when employment was definitely one of the concerns, right? So the chapter has tried to identify that what exactly is the current employment scenario, where we stand, where we are lagging, what needs to be done. And then it has also talked about that what is the situation of new kind of jobs coming up, because you know we are into the IR 4.0. Industrial Revolution 4.0 is nowadays going on. IR 1.0 was when the first IR happened, Industrial Revolution happened. 2.0 was when this kind of thing, telecommunication and assembly line production started around 1920s. Industrial Revolution 3.0 was when when internet came around 1990s. And now we are in IR 4.0, Industrial Revolution 4.0, when we got these kind of things like big data, AI and so. So what is the scenario in that they have talked about? And India is gradually moving towards, in fact in 2021, Niti Aayog has submitted a report that how in 2021 we were having some 70 lakh of gig workers, and we are assuming that this data will increase to 2.32 crores by you can say end of 2030. What are gig workers? Gig workers are those who are, not associated with one employer, rather they are working on contract basis, freelancer kind of. If a gig worker is using digital platform, then we call it platform worker. And in India, we can see the job nature is changing from moving towards gig, new kind of AI challenges will be there. So what is the scenario there? And somehow they have identified agro processing could be the savior. As you might have read the first chapter, the GVA data. In GVA, 22% of the total GVA is coming from professional services. That will reduce because AI and these things are coming. So where could be the solution? That 14% of manufacturing sector of GVA should increase. I hope you're knowing that GVA is calculated across 8 sectors. 8 different sectors. So manufacturing could be game changer, and in the manufacturing particularly, agro processing could be the game changer. That agriculture related things, especially post harvest. So that is how this chapter is talking about all those things. Needless to say, from last 2-3 years, one debate has increased, because you know, in GDP we often do not count those kind of things which are done at household and taking care of elderly kids and these kind of things, what you call as care economy. In fact, there's a noted इकोनॉमिस्ट ऑल्सो ही सेड इट, ये अजीब बात है कि जीडीपी में आप उसको कैलकुलेट नहीं करते जो हाउस वर्क्स होते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड दिस इज फनी, इफ समवन मैरीज हिज मेड द जीडीपी विल गो डाउन. This is surprising. This is the fault in our GDP calculation. So Samuelson might be saying in a satirical way, but he's not saying something wrong. He's pointing out something very significant. And last year, a report came, that is something which has triggered the debate, that if we invest 2% in the public, if you invest 2% of public investment in care economy, your GDP will increase with a lot of job opportunities, because we know elderly populations are increasing. So that is how this chapter is revolving around these 4 things. If you see that, first they have talked about what is the current employment scenario. Look, employment data in India is given by MOSPI now every year. Earlier it was given at the gap of 5 years. Now it is given every year. That is called as periodical labor force survey. A periodical labor force survey, every year it is given. Earlier when data was given at 5 year, that time another data was significant, that was called CMIE data, Center for Monitoring of Indian Economy data. But now government data is something which is considered more significant. This data is provided separately for rural and urban, male and female. This way we will have 4 combinations. Now, as per the data, you can say now female labor force participation has increased. Overall unemployment rate is going down. Unlike what ILO is saying. ILO had a different picture to say. ILO has very controversial picture about the Indian employment scenario, but our periodical labor force survey is saying that in India unemployment rate is reducing. However, among the youth, the unemployment is definitely a concern that we have to work upon. Surprisingly, I must say that though economic survey has not admitted, but it seems the writer somehow was having in the backyard that ILO data in mind. That's why we had emphasized on that part also. So they had said how overall it has declined, workforce size is increasing, distribution is better. And if you see that in India, this is something which is good also, that 57.3% of the total workforce is self-employed. And that is one of the reasons कि आपका EPFO रोल में नहीं दिख रहे हो. आपको एम्प्लॉयमेंट कैसे, कितने लोग एम्प्लॉयड हैं, ये कहाँ से पता चलता है? वन डेटा इज दैट एम्प्लॉयर्स आर टेलिंग अस, जिनके हाँ वो रजिस्टर्ड हैं, बट द मोस्ट ऑथेंटिक डेटा इज EPFO डेटा when they are registered for their provident funds. Good part is that more enrollments are there, but the problem is, let's say if someone is there doing some self-employment, might not be registered in EPFO. So let's say someone was working in one factory and now started his startup or doing some self-employment. By your definition is unemployed now, if we are going with this data. That's why now we are taking NPS data also. And अब उतना दूर खैर मैं यहाँ नहीं जाऊँगा because that will become unnecessarily technical. But even we are developing certain models also by looking into high frequency transactions, digital transactions, कि किसका कितना digital transaction हो रहा है high frequency related to trade, current accounts कितने open हो रहे हैं नए, and these kind of things. So उससे भी थोड़ा अंदाजा लगेगा. तो overall you can say ILO की problem क्या है, वो सिर्फ EPFO data देख रहा है. That what is EPFO enrollment. That's why we are promoting it also. हम एम्प्लॉयर्स को फोकस कर रहे हैं, आप ईपीएफओ बढ़ाओ एंड वट एवर योर, बिकॉज उनको अपनी तरफ से कुछ पैसा कंट्रीब्यूट करना होगा, गवर्नमेंट विल प्रोवाइड सम डिस्काउंट्स ऑन इट. So this way we are having, even we are also saying ki if you are having your EPF enrolled, the first installment will be provided this way. So again, a lot of incentives has been provided in the recent past. That's why we can say that overall it is now visible that EPFO data has increased, but still this data is something which you can use upon, especially why, because in your economy, informal sector is there and they had asked question on it. So whenever question has been asked on labor and all, you should be knowing at least this data, that 57% of them are self-employed. हालांकि एक जगह और है जहां से हमें थोड़ा सा बेहतर इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रही है, दैट इज कॉल्ड ई-श्रम पोर्टल. E-Shram portal is a 12-digit ID card given to all skilled labor, and this is where we get the data that how many of them are actually working, what kind of work they are doing, what kind of skill they are having. So E-Shram portal is also providing some inputs. In short, the moral of this entire discussion they are trying to say is that employment data is also faulty. The way we are calculating, that's why these mismatches. So ILO और हमारे बीच में इतना difference दो वजह से आता है. एक तो their definitions are also different, unlike ours. उस पर मैं नहीं जाऊंगा यहाँ पे, that is not required, that is a routine class discussion, that how the definition are different. We are calculating across the population and they are calculating across the 15 to 60 years. So that's another reason why we are having these kind of mismatches. So if you see that, but good news is that female labor participation rate has increased more in rural areas. So that is how overall you can say that there's a notable increase of 16.9% point rise in rural areas from 2017-18 to 2022-23. तो लगातार 6 साल आप देख रहे हो कि बढ़ रहा है. This has increased, and what could be the potential reason? आपको क्या लग रहा है ऐसा क्यों हो रहा होगा? What could be the potential reason that there is increase in rural female labor participation? Technology, very good. Essay has been asked on this, what is saying? Self-help groups, very good. Which sector might be responsible for it? Food processing. Food processing is the major contributor. Why these things are there. And technology has definitely provided, that's why e-platforms and these kind, now who will believe these? I was reading a story with the ministry that how a girl from Northeast, and that too Divyang, is selling her products with the help of e-commerce. So now we are having these kind of stories coming up. We are having these success stories coming up and participating. So needless to say, from continuous 6 years, we have seen that the growth is there. And that's a good sign whenever you're writing anything about gender empowerment, which is asked in paper 1, sometime in paper 4 also. So female labor participation rate has increased, no doubt about it. So that is what has been said. Overall, एक अच्छी बात ये भी है कि, you know what, India में most of the sectors are informal sector. Almost 90% of our labor force is informal. There was second labor commission headed by Justice Verma, 1999. That highlighted why it is so. It is because most of our labor laws are very strict. As labor laws are very strict, people don't want to hire them on permanent basis. That's why Justice Verma in 1999 advised labor reforms. And finally, there were two major jumps. One was in 2016 when we got insolvency bankruptcy code, and another was in 2020 where major laws, labor laws, were converted into 4 big labor codes. One was for industrial relation, that is industrial relation code. I'm sure you have heard of it. Second is Social Security Code. Third is Occupational Safety at Workplace. And fourth is Minimum Wages Act. So these 4 codes are there now. And all other unnecessary labor laws has been now in a way streamlined. Because don't consider this way that laborers are always victim and industrialists are always criminals. Come out of that socialist image. Advisors, मैंने बोल रहा है, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने बोला है 2019 से बार बार ये बोल रहे हैं, come out of that socialist image that we always believe industrialists are criminal. So wealth creation में they have role to play. So we need to have a win-win situation, and that is why the good news is कि अभी बड़ी factories जो हैं more than 100 laborers, you can see they are contributing more. So if you say in India, a smaller factories less than 100, because 100 एक benchmark है. The moment you have more than 100, you can have labor unions. 100 से नीचे labor union नहीं बनते. If in your factory you have less than 100 workers, so labor union नहीं बनता. That's why labor 100 is the benchmark. So more than 100 वाले जो हैं वो हैं तो size में कम, but they are giving more employment in a way. So 80% of them are less than 100, but they are just giving 22% of the employment. It's because they are not taking them on roll. They are doing more on contract basis. So these problems will be taken out with these new labor reforms and all. That is how enrollment has increased. So what has been done? Ek to we are having PLI scheme. I'm sure you are knowing PLI, production linked incentive, where almost 14 big sectors. अभी हाल फिलहाल में एक सेक्टर को फिर से बढ़ाया है, that is white goods, like this AC, refrigerator. Why we are importing this from the outside? We can make it at least here. चलिए you are helpless to import diesel, petrol, crude oil. समझ में आता है? You are importing air conditioners. अब सोचिए, this is made in China. This is made in China. Max up. This is made in China. This is made in China. This is made in China. This is made in China, and you want to compete with China. Now, we need to understand this. That's why white goods are the key areas. We are promoting various incentives. In fact, not only that, big things also. I hope you're knowing that Boeing is now in India. Boeing had opened its office where? Vadodara में they have opened one training center. That's a different thing. वो Boeing Sukanya. That is, हाँ वो training center बनाया उन्होंने. Exactly where? Bangalore. Boeing is now in Bangalore. Vadodara is something which is dedicated for a special sector. Boeing का India आना is big development. क्योंकि दुनिया में 2 ही लोग जहाज बनाते हैं, aeroplanes. One is Boeing and for the civil aviation. Another is jet. And Boeing, Airbuses are the name of it. These are companies. So if you see that, and Boeing in India, the moment Boeing is coming, because अभी हम इंडिया में अपने aeroplanes नहीं बनाते थे. We had only what is called MRO, maintenance, repair and overhaul. Now the moment we got these people coming up in India, definitely is a big jump. So in Vadodara, they are into one specific sector for the defense, and they have also started training programs out there. So if you see this way, the good part is that a lot of PLIs are coming up now, which are creating employment, and these PLIs are export centric. जिन चीज़ों में हम export कर सकते हैं, from capital, I have been understanding capital goods, big machineries, from capital goods to consumer durables. Consumer durable बोलते हैं जिनको हम consume करते हैं, having average life of 3 years and above. कोई भी चीज़ जिसको आप consume कर रहे हो, having average life of 3 years and above, is called consumer durable. Less than 3 years is called consumer non-durable or FMCG. So this way, if you see, we got what is called PLIs in various sectors, from food processing to making even these kind of things. So PLI is there. National Carrier Service is something which was launched in NCS portal, is very useful since 2015. It is something which provides database, e-Shram portal, Atmanirbhar Rojgar, Deen Dayal Antyodaya for the urban areas. There are 2 Deen Dayal schemes. One is for urban, that is called National Urban Livelihood Mission, and another is for rural, called National Rural Livelihood Mission. So these are creating jobs, social security, pension schemes, affordable insurance, new labor codes. I have already just told you this. That's why I'm going fast now. Even PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, PM Swanidhi. Now street vendors are also called as nano entrepreneurs. You cannot outrightly look, because look the kind of economy we are. They are the fillers. आपका ये पूरा इकोनॉमी बंद हो जाएगा अगर ये जो बैटरी रिक्शा वाले ना आए तो. Because entire Delhi market is like that, that all big trucks stop out on the highways. ये सब हाईवेज पे रुक जाते हैं, वहां से बैटरी रिक्शा से चीजें आती हैं आपके बाजार में. Various street vendors play very important role. They're called nano entrepreneurs. For them, we have what is called Prem Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi. In fact, there's a Street Vendor Act also. Next time when you're going to any street vendor, you might see a kind of code has been given. एक badge होता है उनके पास, which give them some formal structure. With that badge, they can take loan, some assurance is provided to them, because obviously anything may happen to the business, so insurance भी जरूरी है. So this way, in fact, one nation, one ration card is also there. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is one of the very ambitious schemes since 2016, when 3 different categories are there: Shishu, Kishore and Tarun. Shishu is up to 50,000, 5 lakh, and Tarun is up to 10 lakh. In these 3 categories, collateral-free loans are provided. Means without any guarantee, loans are provided. And good news is that Mudra is having minimum NPA. This is very interesting to identify. Mudra is having minimum NPA जहाँ पे आपने कोई collateral लिया ही नहीं है. That's why Mohammad Yunus का नाम लेना समय ठीक नहीं है. Mohammad Yunus has once said it very rightly. He has been a seasoned economist known for his Grameen Bank. He has said it, गरीब को लोन देना हमेशा safe होता है, provided he has the paying capacity. So I think Mudra is a classical example of that. So Mudra loans since 2016 doing wonderful. और इसकी guarantee government लेता है. इसके लिए एक अलग से we have an agency within the government, that is National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company, which takes guarantee of all these things. Then Startup India 2016 for startup, and now India ranks 3rd in startup ecosystem. USA, China and India. These 3 other countries. हालांकि some of the startups has failed. Big name, I don't want to name any of them, knowing the fact that I'm going here, but some of them has proven that it is all valuation manipulation. So this is something which is not good, but despite that, startup ecosystem has increased in India. Even for startup, we have one thing called 20 lakh rupees provided as seeding fund. If you want to have your own startup and you are not having any venture capitalist, Government of India will provide you 20 lakh rupees to start with. Because the problem with the startups is where you have venture capitalists who can invest in your business. Either venture or angel investors. These are different categories through where you get money. So government is now providing, that is called Prarambh, where 20 lakh rupees loan, very less interest rate is being provided for startups. And startups for weaker sections like SC, ST, females, that's called stand-up. So good news is that, in fact, MSME ministry is now a separate ministry. Now we have a separate MSME ministry, and in MSME ministry, there are various portals. One portal is Champion, when 25% of preference given to female entrepreneurship. Look, I know that I might be little boring, I'm aware of this fact. But the fact is कि what I want, you should be getting maximum benefit out of it. अब आप जिसको बार बार देखोगे 1.5 के स्पीड में 2 के स्पीड में, doesn't matter, but you should be knowing all these things at one place. Juxtapositioning is very important. कि जैसे आप ये बोलो, ये चीजें दिमाग में आनी चाहिए. So this is how, when we say stand-up, startup, rural entrepreneurship programs, I have already told you that Deen Dayal Upadhyaya National Rural Livelihood Mission talks about it. Even now, NABARD has also started. NABARD has started what is called NEB Venture. NEB Venture is any kind of startup in agriculture sector with 500 crore rupees seeding fund available. So NEB Venture is also promoting various agri startups. Then what is called, they had said how we need labor regulation. मैंने जो आपको बताई वही सारी यहाँ लिखा हुआ है कि why it is very important that labor law should be re-looked, and we should have what is called more win-win situation, not against to anyone or pro to anyone. So this way we are making sure that they are getting more opportunities and welfare-oriented things are there. So that's how this labor code, और as per jobs are concerned, they have highlighted it कि इंडिया का बड़ा job market जो export sector में है, that is cyber, physical system, big data and these kind of things. And what could be the challenge of automation? AI. They had said कि AI की वजह से jobs all range में from top to bottom, we will reduce, but new kind of auxiliary jobs will come. So not a surprise, 20 साल जितने बच्चों से मैंने बात की, those who have given interview, they all had said that this question was common. और हमने भी वही वाला आंसर, आपका जो स्टैंडर्ड आंसर था वही दिया कि auxiliary jobs will increase. AI will not completely reduce the job. Auxiliary jobs will increase. That means various other kind of jobs, and we need to be future ready for it. This is where our skill is, to sense the opportunity well in time that these kind of new demands will come, from hardware to other kind of logistics support and so. So this is where we are having a data now. The data is that according to IMF, almost 40% of the global employment is exposed to AI. Or kahin na kahin, they all are going to get hit by it at all levels. Those who are highly skilled, those who are, look now coding, which has been our biggest export. Coding will be done by AI. Many of them already started. Google ने शुरू भी कर दिया. So many of them are going to have coding by AI, जो हमारा सबसे बड़ा export था. So we need to identify the new challenges and how to be ready for it. That's why we are saying AI for youth, and these kind of initiatives are there. Artificial intelligence is something which is, again, जैसे मैंने वहाँ आपसे कहा, mental health for employment, even remotely connected. When you're writing about employment and labor outcome, do talk about AI, because it's going to hit almost all sectors in India. So this is how they had said that how new technology may hurt, but we should be also ready for auxiliary jobs. AI research pe, halaki India is not having much of focus on AI research if we compare to China, which is our closest competitor in this field. So we are doing good, but still, अगर आप चाइना को देखो तो चाइना से हम बहुत पीछे रह रहे हैं AI में. China has published almost more than 1 lakh papers, but we are shy of 24,000. So this way, if you say that we need to focus more on AI research, and this is what they had said, कि थोड़ा सा, हालांकि we are having schemes for it, but certain sectors, and at the same time we have to identify manufacturing, because जितना AI बढ़ेगा उतना हमें manufacturing को compensate करना होगा. And India has potential in agriculture sector, India has potential in defense, India has massive potential in defense export, defense manufacturing. We have very good repo worldwide. We are knowing that we had given as Armenia, Pinaka. Pinaka has been given to Armenia because, you know, Armenia and Azerbaijan are in almost warlike situation. So we had given Pinaka to them. We had giving submarine to very of the Philippines and other countries. We are in this entire Africa is looking forward to India for defense things. So India is changing its gear. Defense could be one, and defense can create massive job opportunities. Massive job opportunities. Plus your pharma sector. Even India has potential to be world pharmacy, it has been said. India के पास potential है पूरी दुनिया के लिए दवा बनाने का. India has the potential to pharma है, your defense sector is there. Then already you have what is called in manufacturing, let's say agro products. Agro products are there. Millets could be. Then various other kind of new things which are emerging, like toys. India's toy business is growing. Recently we got a toy cathon also, where we have witnessed massive toy export हमने बढ़ाया है. That's a good thing. So there are a lot of things which can be synchronized. In fact, one of our honorable parliamentarian from Himachal, she was saying abhi unka, if I'm talking about Kangran Ranawat ji, she was saying that ki we should be focusing upon, obviously she's honorable parliamentarian, so don't go, you should know these things while writing, speaking. It does not mean that you got freedom, whatever her past is. Now she is much above in the president's table. After knowing there's a president's table. So you should be saying that way accordingly. So she is right that our local products should be having global market. We should work in that direction. Textile is a promising sector, and sorry to say, but Bangladesh situation is giving us a fair chance to grow back in, to bounce back in textile, because Bangladesh was otherwise our closest competitor in textile. So we got a genuine opportunity now to bounce back. So these kind of things, नहीं तो अब तो जितने भी आप देख रहे थे, चाहे आपका H&M था या जितने भी बड़े जो इंडिया में बनाते थे गुजरात में, they all have shifted to Bangladesh. सो वो एक genuine opportunity आपके पास दोबारा मिल रही है. तो these kind of things we need to focus upon has been highlighted, कि we should be thinking of this. And then future skill program युवा, youth for unnati and vikas with AI is a very good initiative, along with responsible AI for youth, India AI mission. In fact, gig economy, I already given you that data, 77 lakh workers to 2.3 crore. Code of social security is talking about it. One thing is there that climate change also will impact the jobs that we have to consider. So that they have highlighted that how we should be thinking of that kind of job which is climate friendly. And yes, they had said that we should continuously work till 2036 to reap the bounty, because India is young population, and that's why we have to rethink that what they can and what kind of what could be impediments for this job market in India, and how we can get more skills for these youngsters. Flexi job market means, as you know, that you are doing different kind of odd jobs, freelancers. Agro processing is something which they have highlighted, and yes, India has massive potential in agro processing. As I told you, agro processing, defense, pharma, these are some of the sectors, because India naturally is very good at various products. हम नेचुरली बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट्स में बहुत अच्छे हैं, तो एग्रो प्रोसेसिंग कुड बी वन ऑफ द प्रॉमिसिंग सेक्टर. पर ये थोड़ा सा, अगर आप इस बार मेंस नहीं लिख रहे हो, तो आई वोंट से कि दिस इज समथिंग टू बी वेरी मच फोकस्ड अपॉन. दोज आर राइटिंग मेंस दिस ईयर, फॉर देम तो इट्स नाउ ऑलमोस्ट हैंडी क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि एग्रो प्रोसेसिंग को लेकर रूरल जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज, मैंने भी आपको एग्जाम्पल भी दिया वाई फीमेल रूरल पार्टिसिपेशन हैज इंक्रीज्ड. So agro processing is something where we have very good positioning, especially when it comes to millet, especially when it comes to some other kind of. In fact, look, if you go to countries like France, these days people are going to Paris, and if you go to Paris and to the best of hotels, creme de la creme hotels, if you go to Paris to someone's guest, what you get in breakfast? They say with proud, French fries made up of Indian potatoes. There's something very proud for them that I'm offering my guest French fries made up of Indian potato. And back home, that farmer is not getting any single penny. This delinking is not good. So we have to identify that where we are missing the bus. Your tomatoes are being exported, raw tomatoes, and then you're importing ketchups, those tomato concentrates. So this is where we have to identify, because agro processing does not mean only packaging. And for that we need proper storage. This is called forward linkage in agriculture. Syllabus में आपके दिया हुआ है, third paper. So we need proper packaging, we need proper what is called value addition into that. In fact, there's international guideline called Codex Alimentaris, which says the standard, food standards. Most of the things are not being exported because we are not fitting into those international guidelines. So that has to be identified. So this is how they have talked about that, how. And then care industry, as I told you, that care industry, some of it could be paid, some of it could be unpaid. And as old population is increasing, care industries, when they are taking care of elderly, child, persons with disabilities and these kind of things. So they had said that what exactly should be done for the care industry, and how we should be, as we are having more elderly population in future, we should be thinking it systematically with proper training and bringing them into the mainframe. In fact, elderly's economy is called as silver economy. Elderly is, when we talk about elderly, this is silver economy. Silver economy means economy related to elderlies. Don't take them as liability. They could be asset also. They are skilled, they are experienced, that could be utilized. So when your economy is focusing upon considering elderlies in mind, then this is called silver economy, where care industries have important role to play, will provide better opportunities for females. In fact, they have used a term which was popularized by one of the Latin American feminists, that is called motherhood penalty, that females are losing their opportunities just because of being mother. So it's a Latin American term which has got place ki while talking about care industry, we should acknowledge these things also. And some of the case studies, this is something which they had said what could be the impact of care industry if we are having what is called better care industry, then better you can say you can take care of the kids, and accordingly you can say overall better human resource. So this is how they had provided very good chart that how agar proper child care nahi hoti to what are the challenges, how we have various types of stresses, and then it may lead to poor mental health, maybe having what is called various kind of household challenges, and overall your human resource is getting wasted. Look, you should look it from human resource angle. End of the day, all these things are leading what? Your human resource is getting wasted, and that should be considered. So senior sector mein, in fact, Asian Development Bank provides a report called Aging Well in Asia. We are relatively better if you compare with the West. So considering this, चूंकि यहाँ भी population बढ़ रही है, तो they had said that you should be working upon considering the challenges of silver economy, कि उनके हिसाब से system को बनाया जाए, उनकी requirements को भी while making policies you should consider their requirement, कि what are their requirements and so and so. So like Tata ने किया हुआ, Tata का startup है good fellows. In fact, Madhya Pradesh, even from Madhya Pradesh, I think पता नहीं why they have missed it. It was a very good initiative. हालांकि वो economic survey बहुत सारे लोगों से inputs लेते हैं, but Madhya Pradesh has come with a very good thing that is called time bank. I really don't know why economic survey missed while talking about elderlies. Time bank क्या है? अभी as a Tata ने भी इसको good fellows बोला है. So जैसे अभी आप youngster हो, आप you will pay time with elderlies, talking to them, taking care of them, and in your account that much of time will be credited. When you will be elderly, that can be encashed. So it's a initial project, but having some potential. This is also called as good fellows by Tata. जहाँ पे those youngsters from different colleges and schools, if they want to give their community services, they can go to these elderlies. You know, अभी दिल्ली पुलिस ने भी शुरू किया है इस तरह से कुछ जो beat constables हैं, they go and stay with the elderly for time being, take selfie and upload it on the website. So just to make sure, because look, this is a growing challenge, we need to understand this. So ये सब भी चीज़ें हो रही हैं, but again these are routine things, ऐसा कुछ as such नहीं था. हाँ, just they have given at one place that what could be a better ecosystem. You have to develop skills for the purpose. There should be PPP based investment for the care industry, and better training, and considering this as a part of your main framework of the economy. So that's how the conclusion is. And what has been done for skilling. ये आपके पास एक जहाँ पे इन्होंने सारा स्किल को लेकर जितने भी प्रोग्राम्स हैं, जैसे सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना. अभी वी आर इन 5.0. इनफैक्ट एक पूरी मिनिस्ट्री है इसके लिए, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ व्हाट यू कैन से एम्प्लॉयमेंट, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. वहाँ पे अगर आप जाओगे तो आपको पूरी लिस्ट मिल जाएगी दैट हाउ द थिंग्स आर. वही लिस्ट उन्होंने एज इट इज़ रखी हुई है. सो प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना, इनफैक्ट डोंट वरी, दोज हु हैव डन क्लासेस, उन्होंने क्लास में कर लिया होगा. जो नहीं किया उनको क्लासेस में सब बातें होती हैं कि हाँ दीज आर द स्कीम्स. बट देन इवन wherever you are, because some of them are listening on air also, so wherever you are, you should take note of all these things. जहाँ भी आपने स्किल लिखा है, कम से कम there are 3-4 major schemes like संकल्प is there, strive is there, प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना is there, that you should be knowing. So Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana is now having 5.0. It's 5.0 has started. 5th version has started now. Craftsman training scheme. I am sure you have heard of PM Vishwakarma. Wonderful initiative. So craftsmen, 18 different types of craftsmen we are now acknowledging. वो भी एक ज़रूरी है. जन शिक्षण संस्थान, नेशनल अप्रेंटिसशिप प्रोग्राम है, and Skill India Digital Hub platform. In fact, this is where technology could be very useful. YouTubers can be very useful here to provide different kind of skills out there. So we are creating that kind of model, what is called G2G model, people-to-people model. Skill India International Centers are there. NSDC is doing wonderful thing. आपको सिर्फ एक मिस कॉल देना होता है उनको, NSDC को, National Skill Development Council को. It is probably 8-10 times, that is a number. आप NSDC की वेबसाइट पे भी पाते हो, कहीं जहाँ पे एग्जाम्पल भी दिया होता है नंबर का. आप सिर्फ कॉल करके अपना डिटेल देना होता है, रेस्ट दे विल टेक केयर ऑफ, कि आपको कौन सी ट्रेनिंग देनी है, कहाँ आपके नियरेस्ट ट्रेनिंग सेंटर कौन है, एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अप्रेंटिसशिप यू विल गेट, हाउ मच ऑफ पेमेंट विल बी गिवन टू यू, एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ जॉब यू विल बी सुटेबल टू. So we are doing what is called skill mapping. where the skills are and how we can utilize that skill. So this is how PM Vishwakarma is again definitely one of the very 18 traders are being considered here, 18 trading community, और जितना भी आप सोचते हो routine jobs में. So that is how we are having PM Janman is for tribes, I've already told you, and that's how they are talking about we should be. अब ये सब देखिए, these are suggestions when they are saying this should be done, this is where we should be working upon. So here they are saying what is way forward, that formalization करिए पहले तो skill को and attach it with the social security. Remove state level barriers. Job creation should be part of your policy making. Agro processing is the game changer. Consider AI seriously. Care economy should be prioritized. वही सारी बात एक जहाँ पे की गई. CSR should be promoted. अब ये budget में भी कहा गया है अलग से. They had said that now CSR and skill development will be correlated. We are saying companies that you spend your CR for skill development. So you can spend your CR money for skill development and you can show that expenditure. So that is something which is definitely a welcoming thing. Budget ने वही सारी बातें की, तो this has been highlighted, is called Prime Minister's Package. बल्कि अगर कभी मन करे तो 2 मिनट लगेगा. You just search Prime Minister's Package budget. So what exactly Finance Minister had said, that is worth listening. She has said in 2-3 minutes that how we have 5 categories into it. So पहले तो जो first timer है उनको हम incentivize कर रहे हैं. Then in manufacturing sector, because I told you that is the replacement. If our AI is eating up our job, the answer is promote manufacturing sector. So we are having section B for that, जहाँ पे हम manufacturing sector को promote करेंगे for more jobs and support to employers for the purpose. And terms, has been given: labor force participation, gig economy, what is that, motherhood penalty means what. So this is how, again, this chapter is something revolving around employment and skill. What is take home, that why it is important to work on skill, and some major schemes of the skill should be at your disposal. You should also know that care economy could be a game changer for the economy like India, knowing the fact that demographic transition is there. And silver economy is going to be one of our priorities. So that is how this chapter is focusing upon. Let's take a quick look on the questions. The report Aging Well in Asia is published by which of the following? Asian Developmental Bank, ADB is the answer for it. अभी तो सीधे सीधी बात थी. Consider the following statement about factories. In 2021-22, factories employing less than 100 people constitute almost 80%. That's right, I told you it's 80%, but they are giving only 20% job. ऐसा नहीं job नहीं दे रही, that is not getting enrolled because they are more a contractual labor. हम to see employment status we consider one thing called current weekly status and usual status. वो सब आप routine classes में पढ़ते हो, तो वो एक reason है कि उनका jobs कम दिख रहा है. Large factories tend to generate more employment and offer give higher wages. Yes, that's right. So both the statement seems to be right. Consider following statement regarding labor force. The majority of new subscriber to EPFOs are youth between 18 to 28. It's वैसे भी natural है, तो common sense है, isn't it? Just stakeholders बढ़ रहे हैं, वो तो यहीं पे जाएंगे. The female labor force participation has shown a consistent increase over the last 6 years. That is there. I have told you that that's a good sign, and thanks to food processing for it. The rise in female labor force in rural areas is primarily due to increased industrial development and job creation. Again, as we are, in fact, the best and most surprising part is in MSME, maximum job is being created by food processing. And that is we are witnessing for now 3 years in row. Food processing is giving maximum, you can say, job creation. So now you can match this also. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Mudra Yojana for what? Collateral free loan in 3 categories up to 10 lakh. तो ये तो दूसरा वाला तो गलत है फिर तो. Stand up India is, तो ये भी गलत हो गया, दोनों ही गलत हो गए फिर तो, because actually it should be other way around. Startup India is for providing funds. Stand up India is for weaker sector. तो ये तीन के तीनों ही statement गलत हो गए उस लिहाज से. I'm making sense. Startup is for providing what is called new entrepreneurship. Stand up is for weaker section. Stand up. And then Pradhan Mantri Mudra is to provide loans. So all the 3 are wrong. पीएम विश्वकर्मा स्कीम लॉन्च इन 2023 इज प्राइमरली, ये मैं डिसअपॉइंटेड हूँ पीटी से, उन्होंने पीएम विश्वकर्मा क्यों नहीं पूछा, आई डोंट नो, मतलब कई बार ऐसा होता है ना, कुछ बहुत जरूरी चीज आप अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते, है ना। हाँ, लेकिन मतलब मे भी क्योंकि उनकी भी मजबूरी, इतना ज्यादा लोग प्रेडिक्ट कर दे रहे हैं ना कि दे ऑल्सो हैव टू, इनफैक्ट वन थिंग आई डोंट लाइक, विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, आई एम सॉरी फ्रॉम ट्रांसेंडिंग माई लिमिट्स, you cannot decide UPSC how to make questions. It's like a batsman is saying to bowler how to bowl. It is beyond your capacity, and don't, this is self-proclaimed fancies. So don't get into this thing, because I know that you have a lot of exposure. So considering this, ये बहुत important है, stick to the thing, stick to the basic rule. कितनी भी टेक्निक सीख लो बॉस, अगर 10 राउंड स्टेडियम के नहीं लगा दो तो फुटबॉल नहीं खेल पाओगे, फुल स्टॉप। कितना भी टेक्निक सीख लेकर 3 घंटे बैठे नहीं है तो मीन्स लिखा नहीं जाएगा। आई होप आई एम नॉट ट्रांसेंडिंग माई लिमिट्स। अगर आप 3 घंटे बैठ नहीं सकते तो फिर मेंस कैसे लिखोगे? सोचो, हाँ 3 घंटे बैठना भी है, सोचना भी है, लिखना भी है। I've seen youngsters talking this way. फोन आता है, सर हाथ दर्द हो रहा है, पेपर लिख लिया, दूसरा पेपर, अब हालत खराब हो रही है, कैसे लिखें? तो उस समय यही एडवाइस होता है, भैया इस समय क्या करोगे, पैरासीटामोल खाओ, आगे बढ़ो। दिस इज व्हाट द ओनली थिंग इज। बट इफ यू हैव नॉट ट्रेन्ड योरसेल्फ, ट्रस्ट मी, इट वोंट बी इजी। एंड इफ समवन इज गिविंग यू ट्रिक, ये ध्यान रखना, वो ध्यान रखना, फंडामेंटल्स हैज टू बी गुड, फुल स्टॉप। आई होप आई एम मेकिंग सेंस व्हेन आई एम सेइंग, अगर आप 10 राउंड स्टेडियम के नहीं लगा सकते हो तो फुटबॉल नहीं खेल सकते हो, नो मैटर हाउ मेनी ट्रिक्स यू आर नोइंग। सो दैट इज वेयर यू हैव टू वर्क ऑन योर मेटल। Simple examination है, like any other examination. Obviously the requirement is little specific, is specific जहाँ पे थोड़ी alertness, थोड़ा interconnectedness चाहिए होगी. Things are intertwined and they want you to know that way. So this way Vishwakarma was one of the very important developments. हालांकि मेंस में तो जरूर कुछ ना कुछ रहेगा, I'm keeping fingers crossed, क्योंकि every year we make list, तो अभी तक तो disappoint नहीं हुए कि हाँ उस लिस्ट से चीज़ें मिल जाती। मुझे लगा था ये ज़रूर पूछेंगे वो, but whatever. So that's how it's a very important scheme. Janman was represented, if not directly, indirectly, but this scheme was missed. Very important scheme. Why? Because look, this will reduce that caste barrier in the villages in terms of loan and other facilities. अब आप सोचो, आप इसमें बार्बर को कंक्लूड कर रहे हो, आप इसमें कॉबलर को इंक्लूड कर रहे हो. Think of all the routine craftsmanship which makes your basic economy. So this is why it's one of the very good schemes in the recent past. And then they have given question, care work is often in, so if you see that care work is often invisibilized and undervalued in the Indian context, discuss the potential of developing a care economy. Already question has been asked. You have to understand that 2% of public infrastructure in care industry can create more than lakhs of job opportunities in India, considering the demographic transition, because silver economy is on the board now. Climate change and technology advancements are reshaping the global job landscape. कैसे कैसे टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से AI है, क्लाइमेट चेंज की वजह से न्यू काइंड ऑफ जॉब्स आर नीडेड फ्रॉम एग्रो प्रोसेसिंग टू अदर काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. Making sense? So this is how we got when it comes to second chapter. I'll take 5-10 minutes. Let's wind it up. Why to delay? क्योंकि ऐसा कुछ बहुत वो नहीं है एग्रीकल्चर में. एग्रीकल्चर itself is a huge thing. तो इस बार मुझे पर्सनली आई एम बिट डिसअपॉइंटेड कि उन्होंने एग्रीकल्चर पे बहुत कुछ नहीं लिखा, सिर्फ बात की कि एग्रीकल्चर में ये हो रहा है, फूड, नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी में ये कर रहे हैं. सो दैट्स व्हाई दे केप्ट चैप्टर वेरी शॉर्ट इन ए वे. हालांकि प्रीवियस ईयर्स इकोनॉमिक सर्वेज हैज टॉक्ड इन मच डिटेल अबाउट इट. सो एग्रीकल्चर एक चीज़ जो बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है इंडिया के लिए, एंड वन थिंग विच इकोनॉमिक सर्वे हैज हाईलाइटेड, Chief Economic Advisor has said, land reconsolidation has to be relooked. Land reconsolidation को हमें ध्यान करना पड़ेगा दोबारा. Now what exactly it says, if you see that in India, I've been knowing that we have classification. The classification is, that is how many of them are having up to 2 hectare, 2 hectare to 4 hectare, 4 hectare to 10 hectare, and more than 10 hectare. Those having more than 10 hectare are called big farmers. 10 to 4 are called medium farmer. 4 to 2 are called semi-medium farmer. Less than 2 are called, 2 to 1 are called small farmer. Less than 1 are called marginal farmer. That is the new definition as per Agriculture Census 2015. So if you see that about 89.4% of them are having less than 2 hectare land. This is something. In fact, the average land holding is now 1.1 hectare. As per the, there is one data in agriculture called situational assessment survey that is saying 1.1 hectare, and that way, if you see that in many crops, say rice, wheat, cotton, we are second largest. Milk production, pulses, spices, mein we are the largest producer. And overall in agriculture, other activities are bypassing or doing better than agriculture. So यहाँ पे एक simple example है livelihood में कितना है, almost 42.3% of the population is dependent on agriculture directly. That's why FAO says why for India agriculture is important. GDP contribution is almost 18.2, थोड़ा सा बढ़ा है पिछली बार से. Growth rate is 4.18%. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. It has been said if India has to go in 2-digit growth rate, agriculture should be growing continuously with 4% for at least CAGR should be continuously 4% and above. तो वो दिख रहा है. Food grains are doing good. Export बढ़ा है, but still there's a theory. I hope you're knowing that there's one thing called balance of payment, current account. If you want to be in current account surplus, agriculture export should be 15% and above. This is what is the statistics. So थोड़ा उस तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं. Livestock में improvement है, that is there. Fishery is doing good thanks to Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada. So that's how they had talked about that, what exactly is their growth of agriculture and allied sector and what are the initiatives taken. MSP is definitely one of the, I hope you're knowing that MSP is determined for 22 crops plus sugarcane. For sugarcane it's called fair and remunerative price, and that is determined, all the 23 are determined by CACP. And why for sugarcane is different? Because sugarcane payment is done by mills concern, not by the government. So they had said MSP is definitely continuously increasing. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, PM Kisan, when 2,000 rupees in 3 installments, the total of 6,000 rupees has been provided. Digital agriculture mission is there. E-NAM is interconnecting all agriculture markets. So बहुत ऐसा मतलब, it seems that this chapter has been written almost half-heartedly. बहुत कुछ था इसमें लिखने को, but maybe they have refrained considering this protest going on. शायद वो एक रीज़न हो सकता है कि उन्होंने सोचा इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा कमेंट ना करें. MSP को सिर्फ MSP लिख के छोड़ दिया. Otherwise, Swaminathan has passed away. A lot of things should be written about MSP. So that's how we got. And then थोड़ा production पे क्या है, अभी ये routine है कि हाँ 2022-23 was bumper production. Bumper food grain production last year. And look, in agriculture now we are talking about co-op, because still whatever food production we are having, we are not having storage. Abhi bhi India is storing only 48% of the total food production. That's why India is now having world's biggest cooperative based food storage scheme, where every block will have a storage capacity of 2,000 ton with the help of cooperatives under Ministry of Cooperation. That is something which is going to be game changer. And we are assuming, क्योंकि सिर्फ production काफी नहीं, इसका storage भी तो होना चाहिए. The processing should be there. So that has been highlighted. So MSP for pulses and Anushri we have increased naturally, because look, when it comes to pulses and oil, because of Ukraine war, sunflower is not coming. So that's why edible oil are getting expensive. That's why Niger seed, other kind of, you can say edible oil seeds, that is called, safflower, sunflower, we have increased their MSP. Not a surprise, in PT question has been asked. Now you are wondering from where it has been asked. Because look, agar MSP is being offered before the crop. So the moment you increase MSP, people will be incentivized to produce that crop. So that is why we are working into that direction. National Food Security Mission was introduced in 2007. For what purpose? For what purpose? So that we can identify certain districts where we can increase production. So जब भी हमें किसी crop को ज़्यादा ज़रूरत होती है, तो we have areas where with the help of district administration, that's called ATMA, Agriculture Technology Management Agency, we increase production in those areas. So that what has been highlighted कि how we are working on it. Oil seed coverage हमने बढ़ाया है. Overall gross capital formation gross capital formation is how much of the fixed capital you're adding. That has been increase in agriculture thanks to agriculture infrastructure fund. There's one scheme with 1 lakh crore rupees allotted under Atmanirbhar Bharat called agriculture infrastructure fund after harvest, because once the product is there, now for post harvesting things infrastructure is needed. So that is what they are saying, the government contribution has increased. And then what exactly agriculture marketing infrastructure has been developed, agriculture infrastructure fund, this is what I was saying about 1 lakh crore rupees, a wonderful scheme where support is given up to 3% intervention. This is, say for example, farmers are taking loan, so whatever interest is, 3% subsidy is provided by the government. So that is what is very important development agriculture. हालांकि पिछले बार तो इसका पूरा एक chapter था, chapter means almost entire page, but this time to just finish just in few lines, agriculture infrastructure fund and so. But yes, it's a very important development and has been extended further. Abhi I was reading one story. Acha, these days don't go anywhere. Ministries themselves say a lot. That how in Nagpur, the orange producers has increased their export because of this fund. Because for orange, we need separate machines which can process them. So now that was made available in Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. They're called FPO, Farmer Producer Organization. So even people from Lucknow, those mango producers, they got benefited. So there were some very good success stories there telling that how things has worked. Then Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada is one of the biggest scheme for food processing. Biggest scheme, and there's another scheme called Pradhan Mantri Kisan Matsya Sampada. So that is for fisheries. So there are 4 major schemes for food processing: Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada, then what is called Pradhan Mantri Formalization of Micro Enterprises, and then PLI scheme with 10,000 10,400 crore rupees, and then called Operation Green. So ये आपको देखिए मेंस में हर साल क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, and these 4 other schemes you have to remember. So वो रूटीन क्लासेस में भी आप पढ़ते हो, तो वहाँ पे इन्होंने एक बेसिक सिर्फ आइडिया दिया है कि दिस इज हाउ हैज बीन द एलोकेशन. तो नथिंग. KCC has been one of the very important developments since 1998, where they can take loan. अभी KCC को हमने extend किया है, that KCC even could be for non-farm activities also. So that is a welcoming thing that has been highlighted. 2020 में we had made certain changes in Kisan Credit Card. It was introduced in 1998 by NABARD. So डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी का डिजी क्लेम पेमेंट मॉड्यूल है, जो है फसल बीमा योजना इज अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग विच वी हैव टू वर्क अपॉन. फसल बीमा योजना इज समथिंग टू प्रोवाइड क्रॉप इंश्योरेंसेस, एंड सिंस वी गॉट दिस न्यू स्कीम, this is definitely a very important intervention, because farmers should be somehow knowing that what to do if the crop is not there, and we are having now satellite imagery for it. अच्छी बात यह है कि पहले it was mandatory, now we had made it voluntary. Earlier it was mandatory if you have taken loan, but now we had made it voluntary. You can take exit every season. So that has been highlighted, and this is something which I think is the catch for the upcoming mains, maybe this year, next year, because we are promoting future markets. You understand future market? In the stock market, what you can say optioning, no? Future market, that you can take the option things, FNO as you call it. FAO is also in news because STT has been introduced on them. If you're following the budget, STT, Security Transaction Tax, has been introduced for them. So this way, future market, halaki Abhijit Sen had said, Abhijit Sen committee in 2008 has highlighted future market on certain food items and edible items should not be there, otherwise unnecessary prices will increase. Bombay Stock Exchange is working on it, and we already have one market for it. Initially it was called Forward Commission, but now we have what is called, this is also under control of SEBI. So that is what they had said, nothing much, but they are just provide the information that how this future. One thing they have advised that is very important, that how we got this regulation changes from 2015 and what should be done. That they have advised कि एक तो ये ध्यान रखना होगा कि small scale farmers कैसे get benefited on it. This is where cooperative may help. And we need proper market development with, and sensitive commodities should be kept outside. ये एक नया debate शुरू हो रहा है, needless to say, because set of people believe that agriculture produce should not be in the future market. लेकिन then if you say that if you have future market and you have what is called market warehouse receipts, then you can take advantage. I'm not going into that much because obviously I don't know how much of things you have done in your class, but warehouse receipts if you have and you know the market, then probably you might get benefited, additional benefited of whatever crop he has produced. But for that proper training, sensitization, and some kind of safety net should be introduced. So then they have talked about, because again one of the challenge globally we are saying, IFPRI's report is saying that is called International Food Policy Research, that climate change is going to hit our agriculture production. In fact, Bihar tend to be the first state surprisingly to develop. When I'm saying surprisingly, I'm not saying in a negative way, but I'm saying that they were proactive, that they had developed what is called climate resilient agriculture, followed by Andhra. Now Andhra is also having the policy. So this way, we need to have that kind of approach where climate resilience also should be considered. This is where Sri Anna and new kind of genetic engineering could be helpful. So now our genetic seeds, I've been knowing that again, India is coming with one of the very big program called seed cultivation at community level. So abhi we are purchasing seed from outside. Now we have made what is called Rashtriya Seed Sahakari Samiti. That is National Seed Cooperation kind of, where we will cultivate seed at grassroots level with the community agriculture. And government will sell the seed with the Bharat brand. So that could be a game changer, we are assuming. And we need that kind of seed. That's why one scientist, one product is the new approach of ICAR. ICAR has come with a new scheme called One Scientist, One Product. We have identified 1,500 agriculture scientists from different nook and corner of the country, and each of them has been given task to particular product. Their seed should be genetically programmed for the climate resilience, pest control, and these kind of things for sustainable agriculture. So that's how the thing has been identified. Rainfed area development is again watershed development program. You already know is something which is on the anvil. So PM Pranam is again very important for relooking in the fertilizer subsidies and all. And organic and natural farming, Sikkim is there. Paramparagat Krishi is something being promoted. PM Pranam is again one of the biggest budgetary allocation in the recent past, with 3.7 lakh crore rupees allotted for it. So this way we are ensuring that government is having enough of approach so that our dependence on chemical fertilizer is reducing. Because chemical fertilizer is getting more complicated. So this is what has been, even fertilizer subsidy is getting very complicated in India. Then what are the key initiatives of the cooperative? I hope you're knowing cooperative could be of two types within the state and more than one state. If they are more than one state, then call it multi-state cooperative societies. For that we have an act from 2002, Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act, that has been amended in 2023. तो उसका भी थोड़ा जिक्र इन्होंने किया है कि how the things are and what has been done for agriculture research. Food processing, obviously this is something which is very important for employment, gender empowerment. So ये तो routine चीज़ है कि हाँ, and PLI scheme, PM formulation, ये चारों स्कीम आपको हर क्लास में भी मिलेंगी. यहाँ भी दिया हुआ है तो बहुत क्लीशे है, हर बार ही पढ़ते हो कि यहाँ ये चार स्कीम है. So PLI scheme for food processing with 10,400 crores. देन अमाउंट नहीं लिखा, लेकिन आप चाहें तो ऐड कर सकते हैं. PM formulation of micro food processing, one district, one product is highlighted here. Operation Green is for 43 perishable items, including 22 crops and other kind of things. It was called top to total. Earlier we have only tomato, onion and potato. These are important ingredients. When we have increased to 22 perishable crops now. So that's how we got, and then obviously it has to be given because government is cherishing that thing. Ki now we are having what is called National Food Security Act has been changed now, and now government is offering 5-year free of cost grain, 5 kilogram per person per month, on the basis of controlling what is called National Food Security Act. That means 67% of the population. 67% of the population, 75% of the rural, and 50% of the urban population is going to have free of cost grain for 5 years. And this is what we are pitching in WTO also. So that is what has been highlighted here. and then what the budget are saying, I have already told you here and there that how DPI is, land restoration, Kisan credit card, natural farming, and then the glossary has been given. So this was in short that what exactly things are. Consider the following statement about the Indian agriculture. The growth rate of Indian agriculture increased in 2023-24 compared to 2022-23. This statement is wrong. Why? Because 22-23 was better. थोड़ा slightly हम slip हुए हैं इस साल. Annual growth rate at constant price over the last 5 years is around 4%. वो constant price पे नहीं है. I hope you knowing that that is something not on constant price. Livestock and fisheries has better performed. That is true. And 2023-24 food grain production has increased compared to 2022-23. तो वही बात दिख रही है. So if you see this way, consider the following statement about agriculture infrastructure fund. I have told you that 1 lakh crore rupees has been appointed. तो वो वहाँ पे है. और किस लिए है? Post harvest management के लिए है. प्रधानमंत्री Kisan Sampada is for what? To provide better supply chain for food processing, and it's not DBT. So first statement is right, second is wrong. Operation Green has been from 3 crop to 22 perishable items. So 22 fruits and vegetables only, so that makes it wrong, because it's for 22 various perishable items. पर लूजली अगर देखेंगे तो स्टेटमेंट सही लग रहा है, बट टेक्निकली इट इज नॉट जस्ट 22 पेरिशेबल आइटम्स. द स्कीम इज ऑब्जेक्टिव फार्मर्स वैल्यू रेजिलियंस, तो ऑब्वियसली इट इज देयर कि इसमें हम डिस्काउंट्स भी दे रहे हैं. अगर आप लॉजिस्टिक्स लेते हो, जैसे अभी किन्नौर से जो सेब आता है 50% एयर लॉजिस्टिक्स पर डिस्काउंट है. सो दिस वे वी गॉट व्हाट इज यूरिया गोल्ड. आई होप यू नोइंग, इट वाज इन न्यूज. दैट इज यूरिया विद सल्फर. सो सल्फर को जो है उसको हम यूरिया गोल्ड क्या है? व्हेन वी आर एडिंग सल्फर इन यूरिया, इट वाज स्टार्टेड इन सीकर इन राजस्थान. सो यूरिया गोल्ड इज द न्यू थिंग. नीम कोटेड यूरिया वाज इन 2015, दैट इज कॉल्ड न्यू यूरिया पॉलिसी 2015. अभी इस साल हमने 2 चीज़ें शुरू की हैं. वन थिंग इज कॉल्ड यूरिया गोल्ड एंड अनदर इज कॉल्ड नैनो यूरिया. दैट इज इन लिक्विड फॉर्म, इट्स स्प्रेबल. सो दीज थिंग्स आर इनिशिएटिव्स ऑफ इफ्को. सो ये था क्विकली. सर्विसेज के लिए अगर मैं बात करूं तो ऐसा कुछ बहुत खास नहीं है उसमें. जस्ट टू वाइंड अप, एंड आई नो योर पेशेंस इज चेकिंग, लेकिन देन इवेंट फिर भी just to go through it, otherwise there is nothing significant कि इसके लिए I should be coming separately. Look, you know, services contribute to the Indian GVM more than half. So that is something which has been highlighted. Services में अगर हम इंडिया में देखें तो decadal growth rate लगातार बढ़ा है, that is also fact. और ओवरऑल अगर हम कंपेयर करें तो वर्ल्ड एक्सपोर्ट में सर्विसेज हैज मेजर रोल टू प्ले. हालांकि दैट इज बाउंड टू बी नाउ रिड्यूस्ड बिकॉज as you know that AI might eat up some of the jobs, especially the software and all, which has been our key point. तो उसको इन्होंने थोड़ा सा हाईलाइट किया है. बाकी स्लो डाउन हो सकता है सर्विसेज में. स्किल डेवलपमेंट इनिशिएटिव थोड़ा सा. टूरिज्म इज समथिंग विच कुड बी अ सेवियर when we are losing there in computer and these kind of things, IT world. So tourism could be promoted. That is called mode 2 services. There are 4 types of services: mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4. So mode 2 services should be promoted. उसकी बात की है उन्होंने कि what should be done. बाकी overall if you see nothing is there as per sector wise देखें तो simple data है कि hospitality and tourism जो जिसको हम बोलते हैं contact intensive jobs, that has to be increased. And India थोड़ा सा improve करता दिख भी रहा है tourism में. Real estate is improving, has improved that way. And प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के बारे में थोड़ा. रेरा you know is a 2012 initiative for real estate. This is something very good scheme called residential mortgage backed securities. This has been given by I'm sure you have heard of one bank called National Housing Bank, which provides refinancing for housing sector. तो वहाँ पे वो mortgaging के लिए various banks etc. अगर उनके पास कोई collateral या assets हैं तो they can create fund. That is what has been introduced. बाकी इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी का ग्रोथ रेट इन्होंने मैं फिर कहूँगा इसमें ऐसा कुछ बहुत इट्स अ रूटीन थिंग दैट हाउ थिंग्स आर वर्किंग, क्योंकि देखिए ऐसा नहीं कि आपसे इस तरह का डेटा पूछा जाता है. डेटा इज आस्क्ड व्हेन समथिंग इज न्यूनेस, some new is there, some trend setting is there. So that is what it is. Otherwise by and large giving routine data, ये वो कुछ दो ऐसे चैप्टर हैं जो बड़े हाफ हेडेडली लिखे गए हैं. ऐसा लग रहा है कि हाँ शायद वो AI की बात पहले कह चुके थे. दैट इज प्रोबब्ली द रीजन व्हाई हैज नॉट बीन हाईलाइटेड येट. टेलीकम्युनिकेशन definitely is one of the very important factors to grow. E-commerce is where the promising is. India का e-commerce बढ़ा है, and in fact, you might have heard in your budget classes, equalization levy has been discontinued now. So that will further promote e-commerce, because there is one thing called equalization levy, 2% of their total revenue. So that has been discontinued. America was pressurizing us to do so, because OECD has talked about a global corporate tax reform. And for that, equalization levy was the barrier. So that has been discontinued, which has been highlighted by a new foreign trade policy has talked about it, and then what the budget is saying. So you can say nothing was there that way, except some of the sectoral analysis. That's why I was knowing that time is up, yet I thought why not to, because इसमें कुछ ऐसा बहुत खास नहीं है. सिर्फ एक चीज़ आपको ध्यान रखनी है, which you should be considering from mains point of view, that services needs a paradigm shift. Just thinking of computer will not suffice now. In services, tourism, India have massive potential in tourism. From religious tourism, look, abhi to we have not encashed Buddhism. And those who are from UP, when you're looking at Ayodhya, don't just look at religion thing. It's tourism also. And tourism has its own scope. So not a surprise, those who were neighboring district candidates, almost all of them were asked in interview, तुम्हारे यहाँ तो यार फालतू का पैसा खर्च कर दिया. They wanted to see आप कैसे देखते हो उस चीज़ को, कहीं आप बहुत ज़्यादा इमोशनल तो नहीं हो गए, because you need to be emotionally balanced. So they have asked these kind of things. We have a scheme called Prashad for it. So we have potential, massive. Buddhism, pura Sri Lanka, pura further east, China. In fact, I don't know why we are waiting for India should introduce special coin having Buddha as seal, somehow pressurizing China to accept it. Pressurizing China to accept it, क्योंकि अगर कभी ब्रिक की कोई करेंसी बन सकती है कॉमन, जैसा कि बात हो रही है, क्योंकि बहुत सारा गोल्ड सब खरीद रहे हैं, तो इट हैज टू बी बुद्ध बेस्ड. सो ब्रिक्स, आई हैव बहुत सारा गोल्ड इंडिया भी खरीद रहा है, अपना गोल्ड वापस भी मंगा रहा है. सो इट सीम्स ब्रिक इज सम थिंकिंग ऑफ समथिंग. सो जो भी है वट एवर, बट overall services mein your approach should be very clear that conventional IT is not reliable any further. We have to go with our own strength, that is tourism, that is other kind of like medical tourism, education tourism, yoga is a very promising market. Or mental health mein to yes, yoga is going to be very useful as globally mental health is increasing. It's all about how you are placing it. So that is the thing you have to consider. Otherwise, data-wise, there was nothing specific, because the objective of this class was to more analyze the data and facts and the patterns into that. So this was at about these 4 chapters. Again, I'll say that some of you, especially if you think that something else should be discussed, you can pen down my email ID. You can write to me also if you really want to ask something specific about it. That is Sunil Kumar Singh 2, Sunil Kumar, Sunil Kumar Singh, and numerical 2, Sunil Kumar Singh 2 @gmail.com. So this was it for it, and I hope the class was productive, not very boring. And thank you for your patience, I know, because staying for almost 4 hours is not that easy.